back to the Iron Seas! Let's go! It's Tuesday night! Hail the Iron Age! Hail! Tonight, we're talking about possibly the gayest movie ever, 300! We're also talking about just GRIMDARK as a whole. Wait, I gotta... Alright, let's... okay. There we go, fade. Alright.
Hey, that was horrible. We're getting there.
Can't really talk and do it at the same time, though.
Spartan steps, a little bit at a time. Spartan steps.
So we're talking 300, the movie, because it's Snyder Week, and that was the movie that won the poll for this week. We're also talking GRIMDARK because it came up on John A. Douglas's show, and he didn't do it good enough. You hear me, John? You didn't do it good enough. So we're going to do it here better on the Iron Seas, because that's what we do better on this. All right, Kahuna here on...
Hey!
Your head like a freaking glove. Anyway.
You're pretty quiet, sir. You're pretty quiet.
Something's a glove.
We also are going to be talking... What were the other two subjects, guys?
The background crickets are killing me.
It was
What are our thumbnails?
Essence of GRIMDARK, Lord of the Rings. Because
Lord of the Rings, the new trailer that came out.
Yeah.
We're talking about that. And Rings of Power, I think, releases tomorrow, too.
The essence of GRIMDARk? That sounds like a horrible candle. Like
It's a deodorant candle.
That's what I call my farts.
Secret. Oh, jeez.
How's that? Is that better?
That's better, yes.
Yes! Lady of the Rings.
Where were them cricket sounds coming from?
Historical battles.
Yours
Yes.
truly over here. Keep us in
Why?
check.
Why do you have like the knife from Emil in Halo Reach there, AC?
This is my Spartan sword.
Yeah, it's a Spartan sword.
It's too small. It looks like the knife.
Oh, it's not small, brother.
No, they had short swords anyways.
It looks like one of those knives they definitely don't give to child soldiers over in other countries. Anyway.
It's one of those knives, if you throw it, it comes back to you. You just gotta be careful when you catch it.
Yeah, you just have to be very, very careful. Yeah.
That's an Australian knife.
This is the
it's freaking Australian.
Kahuna is the only one not in costume right now.
Where's your cape? You need a cape.
There's no spirit.
That's
honestly.
why they lost to the Persians. There was one guy in their ranks without a cape, and that was
I'm gonna throw on the.
Oh, you ruined it for everybody.
Let's see.
Well, how's everybody's week been this week? We got our special guest for the week, WRANGLER,
He's
is
so
joined
special.
us.
So special.
WRANGLER, tell us a little bit about
Wrangler.
your week. Tell us a little bit about your week.
Tell us about your week, boy.
Tell us about,
Tell us
your,
about
week.
your week.
Tell us.
How's your week? You should tell us about
Well, let me
it.
tell you
He's
about
camera
my
shy.
week. I haven't got a whole lot done yet. But, I've been working on a short story, but I gotta get back to finishing up my next video for the full spoiler coverage series, which will be the final installment of the Metroid manga coverage.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're
Yep.
covering that. Yeah, no, it like if you look it up, almost every Japanese property has a manga of some kind. Almost every single one.
It's cool.
And I never read it till this year. A Metroid nut that I am, never read it till this year because I
Well, did you even know that it existed?
No,
they don't
yeah.
advertise stuff like that very often.
well, it never came out in the U.S. However,
Oh,
MetroidDatabase.com, there's a whole bunch of Metroid mangas over there, and they've all been translated to English, put up on there, so.
but you can't get English
a lot more to
physically,
read.
right?
What's that?
You can't get it in English like physically. They never.
I
like,
don't think
licensed
so.
it.
But I mean, they're free to go read or even download to keep on your computer. I just had to get used to flipping the pages the other way.
Oh yeah, no, I like that now that I'm used to it. But every now and again, like a couple of the manga I have are so beloved over here and have been adapted so many times that the editions I have like flip English direction. I'm like,
Yeah.
that had to be a pain. It doesn't work quite
It
right.
screws me up every time it happened. Well,
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah. Imagine reading a book the right direction.
I was just
Yeah.
like, this book's is backward.
I was about to ask AC how his week's been, but let's go to you, Kahuna. How you been?
Oh, I've
going
just
on?
been dandy, just trying to do work stuff. Customers wanting to do a project and asking advice for something I've never had to do before. I'm like, sure, buddy, sure. Yeah, we got this. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I will watch from a distance and cheer you on. It's like I build buildings. I definitely am qualified to build an underground not Apocalypse Shelter.
Yeah, sure. Same thing, right?
Sure. Yeah, it's the exact same thing. And then he like the little I did know I was sharing with him, and he's arguing with me about it. I'm like, oh, all right, buddy. All right, cool.
All right. Yeah.
We're done, I guess.
One of those conversations.
But yeah, I'm just working on a lot of videos, man. That's kind of what I've been into. AC, how's your week been, brother?
My week has been busy, brother. We just released one of at least 2 live videos on the band's YouTube channel. So you guys can go check out Younger AC live. We got the lyrics on there too. So now the whole album has been released, and
Nice.
you go check it out. Every single one has a lyric video, so it's all there. You can see it. And on top of that, then finished Battsauce's book cover. It's turning out really nice. I've had to redo it a couple times because I'm still learning as well.
So nice,
But-
so sexy.
Yes.
Much vibrance, yes.
The best.
Yeah.
The colors. 3 snaps.
I mean, you sound like you're in the movie 300.
Which of us has a proper beard and which of us looks like a Persian
Our
slave?
military, sir, stays completely shaven, all right?
You look like one of the gay countries they conquered first. Anyway,
Like Athens.
What? No, whoa. All the countries we're conquering are very bearded up. Anyways,
you're some king's gay son. Moving on.
A lot of them look like they took Captain Caveman's hairstyle and pasted it on their face.
yeah, AC, sorry, we interrupted you.
But yeah,
Enough with this gay Battsauce being gay talk. That's old news.
That just makes you a beta cuck.
Foreshadowing. Leonidas.
all right, AC, go, because we gotta get into our 300 talk.
oh yeah, what I was gonna say is, I've just been finishing up Batts's cover. It's turning out really good, and it's making me excited to just whip together my own cover for my full length that I've been sitting on. I think I'm actually gonna just do it myself. This whole time I've been waiting for like, oh, you'll get enough money for that dream artist.
Yeah.
Nope.
Dude,
so
you know-
let's just fucking go.
AC,
You know what I
don't
mean?
go for the dream artist. Go for that Filipino artist who's up and coming and very talented.
I see
Unknown
that
so
one.
far.
I see that artist every time I look in the mirror, brother. I see that artist every time I look.
I see a very white, taller version of that artist.
All right, Evely, how's the week going?
It's good. It's
At least
pretty
he's
good.
wearing red and not some green bath towel, Joe.
They wore
Yeah.
wore white in the council, okay? And none of those people
That's
got.
fair.
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna
not
save it. I'm gonna save
seafoam.
it.
My lick, my.
I'm
Lip.
gonna-
Never mind, I can't say that.
I had to cleanse my palate a little bit with some Jean-Claude Van Damme this afternoon. So that
Oh yeah, nothing straighter. Nothing.
Completely
No,
heterosexual.
you seen those
of you.
splits, bro? You seen the splits?
Hey,
You can't,
All right,
display,
well-
you can't display the bulge properly if you don't do the full split. Sorry.
Well, myself, I just finished editing a video that I'll be releasing tomorrow after my show, my Wednesday show that goes 11 in the morning.
yeah,
Eastern.
super popular show over there.
Absolutely. It has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
No.
Yeah, so I did a review on Gooding, so that'll release tomorrow right after my stream.
Hey, timely.
And yeah, this week I tried to patch some bad edges or whatever you want to say, but it didn't work.
Bad
But
edges, that's what we
whatever.
say.
But then we're here to talk about story writing and Zack Snyder. So we're gonna talk about 300, right?
That's kind of gay. How
Hi,
dare you?
Dad.
How dare you?
I didn't realize until 2
Yeah.
minutes ago that it was Zack Snyder because I just finished
You
it up.
couldn't tell from all the slow mo.
It could have been a Van Damme movie.
I'm not.
honestly.
I'm not. Believe it or not, I'm not a big movie buff.
Wait.
across the board.
Also-
I
Let me get my bus, guys. Let me get my bus. Oh, there we go. Oh, two retards.
Also,
right
I
here.
don't want to hear any Snyder, any of the Snyder talk. You're the one who said we were going to do a Snyder flick this week. You son of a gun.
No snide remarks from you, sir, about Snyder.
And the best movie he's ever made wins, and he's like, "Oh, why do you have to pick a Snyder movie, bro? It's in the rules. You did it. You chose. This is
guy-
you."
Oh, no.
This guy gets cucked. This chick gives up gives up the punani for nothing.
We could have had cute girls with samurai swords and mechs, and instead we're watching losers in diapers.
We could have got Batman v Superman. Come on.
The worst.
Stupid.
Don't. You know what? I'll give it to Justin. At least his reasoning makes sense. BVS, there's no reason to watch that movie ever again.
Oh, wait, guys. Sorry, I introed this movie totally wrong. So, as you can see, I am dressed up like a Spartan, and we're going to talk about the movie 300.
Don't listen, he's an
It's the
Athenian.
totally straightest movie you guys can watch.
Don't listen
Oh,
to
I've
him.
chosen my words carefully. Perhaps you should have done the same.
Yes. Yeah.
Emily, give us our rundown of the movie for this week.
All right, this is the rundown. We need a little infographic with like lightning strikes or something. So
I should
basically,
get a lightning.
Is that how it looks, Bats?
Here.
Uh-oh, retard alert! Retard alert, class!
That works for everything.
so
Yeah.
the
Especially
heroic,
when you're involved.
the heroic Spartan king Leonardo, armed with nothing but
Leonardo. I can slap you.
Leonardo, armed with
his
nothing,
Pinkertons.
armed with nothing but
Dan.
the heroic Spartan king Leonardo, armed with nothing but leather underwear and a cape, leads a ragtag bunch of 13 Spartan misfit warriors to defend their homeland against thousands of invading Persians, whom include the Ghost Rider, Rocky Balboa, the Autobots, and an ugly hunchbacked Paris Hilton and a shaved-headed Britney Spears. This is
And
directed
he did so against the advice of the mutants.
There's like a deeper level joke here that's probably gonna fly over everyone's heads. I don't care. It's directed by Zack Snyder. It's starring Gerald
Snyder.
Butler, Kevin Sorbo. That's a hint. Carmen Electra. That's a hint.
Kevin Sorbo.
Lena Headey. It had a budget of $65 million and it made a cool $456 million.
Damn.
Kevin Sorbo's in Meet the Spartans.
It probably reviewed well. Would be my guess. I forgot to look up the reviews. I'm getting
This
Talk
is
about cultural bombs.
And the bad guy
Yeah,
was
like in a good way.
oversized
In a good
Dolph
way, yeah.
Lundgren with a tan and a bait box stuck to his face.
No, so when this movie came out, it was everywhere. Everybody kept quoting the absolute crap out of it.
It's
So
a
kinda
very
doing like
because it's a
did
very
stand up.
quotable movie. Bats.
It's a very quotable
very
movie.
quotable.
It's very quotable. That is one of the positives of it.
Yeah, in a
I remember, like,
long list. Yeah.
I remember I was like
Yeah.
deep in World of Warcraft back then, and like there was a clan everybody knew about, the 300 clan. They always had 300 members, no less, no more. You know?
Well,
Yeah,
you
it was
were
everywhere.
well. You went into the military, so you got tired of
Bro, this movie recruited more Marines than 9/11 did, dude.
Yup. Yup. That's the point.
300
fucking-
more powerful than 9/11. You
I
heard
mean-
it here first, folks.
from a Marine,
Honestly, on the
so it's not even
rewatch
controversial.
2 hours ago, when I watched Leonidas kick that douchebag over the cliff,
Oh,
something in me just went, America!
Well, okay, let's talk about that too.
That's weird. That's weird. I was like, "Fuck Muslims," but you know, we all
This
have
was
different
very,
realities.
this
love
was
fucking
very
crap.
targeted to Americans with the whole framing of the Spartans.
They're fighting
free
for
men.
freedom.
They're free men. Yeah,
They have slaves. It's not historically accurate. We can move
Yeah.
on.
Oh, we're all soldiers. I'm sorry. How are you guys all soldiers? We don't talk about the slaves, guys.
It's weirdly historically
We're
accurate.
fighting
That's
for
what I'm gonna say.
our freedom. You know, the citizens, not those people.
There's a lot of points in this that are actually spot on historically accurate. Like
Yes,
kicking in,
more
did you
than
guys
it
know
deserves.
Did you guys know that scene where he kicks him into the well is actually exactly what happened? Almost.
Yeah, that's
That's
as much
basically what
as
happened.
much as we
And that's
can
what
know
wasn't
there.
about that
Wait, I
wasn't
ancient
there.
history. Yes.
Wait, so they had a bottomless pit well in Sparta?
No, that's
Okay.
okay. My second point is this.
So
is
here's-
how you
but
make a
here's the
comic
thing.
book movie.
And
That's
this
how you
is
make a comic book movie.
This goes for the movie as well. I get it, not historically accurate, but you killed the messenger. Is that not a declaration of war?
Oh, it absolutely was a
Yeah. So why is he talking about like, I don't know, guys? We have to convince them if we're going to go to war or not? You're going to war. You declared war by kicking
did they
because
the
they
messenger.
needed to give Lena Headey something to do.
Yeah, that's all bullshit.
Wouldn't
I
it
don't
take a
know.
while for them to know that they killed the messenger? If there's like, is that messenger back? We haven't. It's been like a week. He should have been back, right? He like.
Oh yeah, they would have.
Well, they were on horses, so like a day or two. Oh well, I guess that's the answer. Anyway,
Historically,
Well, not to mention, apparently they had people behind the scenes with their troll.
Maybe
fucking
he just fell in
Well,
love while he was there with the hunky guy. You don't
the
know.
Spartans are proud of what they do. So historically, I may be misremembering, but I think they did. They sent their own message back. Like they kicked him into the well, and then basically was like, "Here's what we did to your bitch messengers."
Zack Snyder
Come
wasn't
at
going to show us a messenger riding on horseback for
Right,
3
right.
days,
He
and
said
you know
so.
what? I'll
Yeah.
give him that. He doesn't need to show that.
The pen had so much. Oh, I thought you
He
had a
would have
pen
done it
and
in
you were like-
super
it was
slow-mo
Like,
if
it
he
added
did.
weight to your arguments.
Yes,
I was like, I
yes.
need a pen.
I'll remember that. I'll remember that.
So, I mean, let's talk about the actual historical aspect, or like what actually happened, right? So, I
know.
guess somewhere around 300 Spartans went down there, but the Athenians sent way more, and they didn't leave; they stuck with them the whole time, and not to mention. Like 40 years before, the Athenians had to fend off the Persians in the first place, and the Spartans weren't there. So this whole shitting on the Athenians the whole time is like bullshit. And not to mention, does it take more courage to be a fucking cook and be like, yeah, I'm here to fight for my country? Oh well, you're just a cook, you're not a real soldier.
I
Like,
mean,
fuck
in the
you,
movie,
dude.
they did when certain
been
death,
dialogue.
when death was certain, they did leave like bitches. I'm gonna point that out.
In the movie.
Okay, let's talk about
Wait a
history.
minute, wait a minute.
Let's make something freaking clear. The movie is based off of a graphic novel that is based off of a poem, which is based loosely off of historical events.
Which is written by the victors.
Yeah, the
Right.
historical events have gone through a lot of
Yep.
confusion between then and now. So
those
we can,
records are
And
pretty. Those
interesting
records are
fun
pretty
fact,
good.
By the way, I was listening to Terran Tuesdays earlier today, and R.H. Snow brought up that at the Alamo, they were inspired by the story 300, and that story actually inspired them to keep fighting at the.
So yes, this
And
movie
those were
did
the
recruit
manliest
more
men.
Marines. This movie did, of course, recruit more Marines than 9/11. Of course.
remember
after
at the
what Wrangler
Alamo
told
when they
us.
So-
watched 300?
So okay, so historically, and the historical records are pretty damn accurate on this stuff. It was more like about 1,000 men when you include the Athenians and also
For the
other
Arcadians.
neighboring
Yeah.
cities as well, or countries, whatever.
It was basically mercenaries. Whoever wanted to go.
No, it wasn't just mercenaries. I mean, like Athens supported the fuck out of them, and also Athena also finished the war. So, but it was more basically
Athena, the
1,000.
goddess?
Basically. That's
So
what this-
Athens, whatever. Anyways, so it was
Anyway.
basically 1,000 troops against like 250,000 is what they are estimating, which is an insane number difference. And they took out about like 25,000, which is insanely awesome.
Oh,
and
it's
why
insane, yeah.
which is why this is something to
King-
mark
King
about.
Le- King
Okay,
Leonidas fell during the battle.
Yeah.
It was an entire plot point of the historical lore around it that the Spartans fought ferociously over and wouldn't let anybody near his body and kept fighting. But they eventually, killed them all and got the body and impaled him and like did the whole like Robert Stark thing from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But yeah, spoilers.
Also, historical spoilers, Xerxes was a giant. Unfortunately, when his body was created and made larger, it didn't work on his penis. Everything else was larger, just not that.
And I think it made him.
That's what the historical records show us.
Yeah.
From Napoleon Complex to Napoleon.
Yeah.
Okay, question.
I-
How many of you knew anything about any of this history prior to seeing this movie?
I was in like high school.
Not
man.
I.
Didn't know anything.
I never heard anything about any of this until this movie came out. And obviously, any historical, cinematic, anything, they warp the context of what exactly happened and all that
for
sort of
sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
And
It
to
Well,
me,
if you want
they-
historically accurate, you got to watch 10,000 BC.
That's gross.
Yeah, remember all those
Justin.
historical
Wait, no.
records from back then? Yeah.
what was
Hold
the
on.
one with Noah and there was the talking rocks with Hermione?
Oh,
That
that
one, that's
stupid
the most-
godless. It was called Noah, and dude, I can't. Okay, yeah,
All
we're
right,
moving
I stand
on.
for the record. I stand corrected. Some of you knew the history. I know the history. I went into this. I'm like, this movie needs to stand on its own. I watched it, and anytime I see a historical movie, I just assume everything's wrong because.
Okay, how about this? Let's get into criticisms. So,
Yeah.
any criticisms? AC, none. No, I guess
do you have
there's nothing
none?
to criticize.
It floats. Next subject. It floats. Next.
All right. Let's start with some of the more big the scenes up front. Like it opens up with him being young, right? Or is it his
Yeah,
son?
the trial against nature.
It's him being young. It's him.
And foreshadowing. Yeah,
rest of
foreshadowing the future,
hot
like battle tech.
Actually, I like that opening scene because it showcased his strategic mind. When he had to face off himself, he backed to an area where it was just bottlenecked him. So the only way the wolf could attack was through a spear.
All defended.
And it's historically accurate in that there was an Agogi. Granted, this was a little bit of a cinematized version of it, and it's called the Agogi.
Yeah, I like how like he's in freezing cold temperatures in a loincloth
and bare feet.
That's how I grew up, you son of a gun.
I do like how it opened. I like the foreshadowing. Like that was good.
Honestly, Faramir narrating throughout, I really liked that part too.
Yeah,
I live in New England.
I wish it was Faramir.
Handling the cold isn't all that far.
At the end, Regan Gandalf rides over on the horse to save them.
Well, so then it got it got really weird when he had to go up the mountain to talk to the mystics or whatever the fuck they're called.
Dude, this is the first.
They're from Chernobyl, I think.
Oh my gosh.
This scene had so many problems. No, they were Spartans actually. So try to make sense of that. So if they're Spartans, why the fuck are they allowed to live?
They're treated differently.
They were Spartans.
Okay, so
they're from Sparta.
The toughest guys, they're all about
they're
genetic purity and the strongest men. What do they do with their most beautiful woman, their most genetically superior?
That 12-year-old woman.
They feed her to these. They call them. I have the quote here.
Battsauce and his 12-year-old women.
The direct quote from the movie. They call them worthless remnants, old wretches with the needs of men and souls black as hell. And they feed this young girl, their most beautiful girl, to these cretins, and then they seek out counsel from them. These guys are. What is, dude? They're weak, man. No wonder they lost.
That was absolutely retarded.
Would they say her beauty was her curse or something like that?
I don't know if Justin. I don't know if you caught this. Leonidas fucking hated those guys.
Yeah, but why did they let them be live?
He sought counsel and was like, okay, and walked away. And then he made a passive aggressive comment at the weasel who ends up with his wife later. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm taking 300 guys for a walk. Why don't you say we're going to war? You're a pansy. I hope you die. And then he's like, we're going for a walk. I'm passive aggressively.
Because they were messing around with a little thing called it was the prehistoric democracy is what we were looking at.
We're gonna go die.
It was a bunch of hoopla.
He would slander him. Is basically. It was like, dude, this is driving me crazy.
So back to the mystics. Yeah,
I was gonna say that scene where he climbs up the mountain to see the mystics.
How do you get food up there?
It's source accurate, source material accurate. It's also
there's a path. It's like instead of going up, it takes a really long, gradual way, and he's like, I'm not doing that.
That's the comic book version. Yeah. But there was actually
he took the elevator.
There was actually the Oracle, who was actually a young girl who did actually go into trances and speak in tongues like they portrayed, and there was the council weirdos up there. That they probably exaggerated a little bit with the appearance, but that all kind of checks out. So this is what I'm saying. The movie's weirdly accurate. It's very inaccurate, but it's weirdly accurate in some ways.
I'm calling hoopla. I'm calling hoopla.
At the very least, that's accurate to the source material. So
okay.
Frank Miller.
Well, then how come 2 seconds after you find that backstabbing politician and a Persian? How the fuck? How did the Persian get up there? Why is he paying them in in a crazy amount of gold when literally that's looks like it's more money than they have to pay in taxes up to the Persians?
They don't even look like they.
It's about
gold for anything.
The Persians are exceedingly wealthy. They've conquered and taught many nations at this point. It's all demonstrating the overwhelming force that is Persia. It's not just their armies; it's their wealth, it's their influence, it's their corruption.
Their
culture. Yeah. But it made no sense that they got into Sparta like that.
And at that point in time, Xerxes and his father Darius, I believe, both knew that the Greeks were divided, and they both knew how
They were.
strong.
They also
nations of,
knew
like,
that they
Sparta
were. They were. Oh, what do you call it when you're weak to something? They were.
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable. They were vulnerable to spiritual manipulation.
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
What was the
and they all were
prediction?
doing their best
sorry.
Toxic Avenger cosplay.
Yes, they were.
Toxic Avenger. Hey, New Jersey hero, let's go.
And
What were you
what
saying,
prediction did they make? What prediction did they make? They
They
said in the movie,
cucked him.
Greece will fall. Oh, what'd
Yep.
she say? Oh, I'm
Yep.
so glad you gave me your prettiest girl. They said that Greece is gonna fall, and they said
Let me grab her tit. That'll help me understand.
Oh God. It's so weird.
Oh, Mr. Bow to No Man, Mr. Leonidas, these trad ruler, Bow to No Man.
Yep.
Okay, weird guys.
I already have an
you know,
answer.
It's like
Uh,
I'll take your word for it. It's like he's in a way bowing to them. He's submitting to their influence. I know he goes against it, but he listens. He doesn't say there's a Sparta and kick them off the cliff. He
he
says,
is-
"Okay."
He literally, wait. He literally could have went back to them and been like, "Yo, the Mystics said like we're good for war. Like they told me."
He could have just lied. He could have just lied.
But I
But
did love that attitude.
he's
through
trying.
the whole
He's
movie,
trying.
though.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
demonstrating-
he is the king, but he's limited in what he can do. He
So-
he can't wholeheartedly go
He
against
can
the
lie.
council. Yeah,
not?
but that's not.
Then all
Yeah,
of
no.
Because killing a messenger is so honorable, and also lying about
Yeah,
he lied about anyways
exactly.
about going to not war.
Some
Well,
rules
then-
matter, some rules
They-
don't.
Yeah.
And the ones that
They
do
attacked
involve
him,
like-
man. What can you
Yep.
say?
I will say,
attacked
if he goes against the E4s, then all of Greece unites against Sparta, and Sparta doesn't exist anymore. And that's the thing; they're divided, right? So that's the thing that keeps them kind of all in check. That's how Macedonia and Alexander the Great go to conquer all of Greece, because they're still divided.
So
they
you're
haven't gotten their
saying
shit
they're
together.
they're kind of lame, is what you're getting at. It's a
Well-
roundabout way of saying that they can lift weights all day, but they're under the rule of these inbred, boil-ridden weirdos.
Yeah, they're kind of like popes in a way. Yeah, like where they just control all the satellites.
Justin, I agree it's dumb, but that's kind of a lot of like weird misshapen guys are treated as like magicians or sorcerers back in the
Even
day.
so, they
They
could have
were
made
dumb.
it like a little less weird. They like
No.
why
Yeah,
why does the
definitely.
movie feel the need to weird me the fuck out?
Because it's not as weird as a lot of like if read Greek myth. This is that was very tame
Now,
compared to Greek
here's
myth.
an idea.
that's true.
What if
Look
you
at Zeus,
abandon
yeah.
the history? What if you abandon all of it and just make an awesome movie where the guys that are muscular and awesome, they're just awesome the whole time, and there's no
fantasy.
So wait, let's go with
Right.
this too. Why
Okay,
did they have to
good.
be
We're on
shirtless
the
the
same
whole
page.
time? Why do we have to look at their nips the entire movie? Like, please answer me.
Was
This.
that
They
was
can
that
get
what you were looking at, Bats? Is that an admission?
Was there anything else to look at? There were like just 600 nips on the screen at all times. It's
That's
all man nips.
they never explain like we don't wear armor, so we're more agile in battle. They never.
That's
say
not even a
anything.
thing. That's not a thing.
Like, back
That's
up.
that's not a thing. Why were they not wearing armor?
It's
First
battle
off-
bikinis or whatever those ladies wear. It's
Wait
that.
for what? Sorry. Wait, what was that?
Talking about fantasy.
No. AC, what'd you say? Why were they not wearing armor?
First off, they did wear armor historically.
They did.
Yes,
That-
I know historically, but we're talking about the movie.
Exactly. I'll get to that. That's a Frank Miller inaccuracy dramatized because Frank
Uh-huh.
Miller felt more comfortable drawing superheroes in tights. So
Herman
what is
brings up a
Superman?
good point.
So
about
that's
that.
my point.
That's why he did it. So historically inaccurate. And furthermore, the reason you don't see any female nips, Bats, is because there was only one woman in the whole movie who spoke, and that was one too many because she
What
wasn't,
to Damn it, beat me to it.
she wasn't in the source material.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to understand why would armor not be cooler than watching shirtless men the whole time?
Frank
Yeah,
Miller.
it's true. If you're
It-
gonna
it-
go
it
into
was- it
battle
was an
and
That's a
you're
terrible
gonna use it,
excuse.
It was an
your name better
aesthetic
be
choice.
Rambo.
So
Yeah.
Frank Miller's a
That's why he did it.
bad artist, so we
He
should.
wanted-
He's not a bad
We should
artist.
do-
He's a bad writer.
Well,
I
he
think it's
he
cool.
has to draw
think
all
it's cool.
all the men as gay as possible. Yeah,
They have armor. They have a shield.
they have a shield.
To be fair, their shield covers pretty much their entire body plus.
And
To
their
be fair.
masculinity. That's a huge
From
plus in
side?
their armor.
Only if the man
Also,
next
Bats,
to him
I
is
think you're
real
just too
close
insecure
with
to
the
go
shield.
out in a man cave. I'm not. I'll do it right now. No.
The shield's
make
there to
weapons.
protect my virginity. You see how old
why
that
you
one
don't?
kid was? He's like, he's not even old enough for it to feel
my
a woman's
gosh.
warmth. Like, that dude's in his 20s. What do you mean he's not old enough?
No, that bothered me so much because they're like, "Hey, this kid has never been with a woman." He's like, "It's fine, I have 5."
Yeah.
What?
Well, well, okay, I'll defend that. It wasn't a
The-
serious.
the-
the Greeks, dude.
He wasn't making a serious
They
comment
said
there.
that, you
I'll
knew he
defend
was
that.
going down.
I know that too. Yeah, they totally said, "I was like,
Oh.
okay, they're either both dying or the kid or whoever."
Oh.
Like, really?
Also, I gotta give it to Gerard Butler. Some of those lines could be delivered, if delivered by a lesser actor or someone less committed to the role, could be really, really bad. But because he full committed to each line, it really, really worked.
Yeah. No, the
My
one-liners were
favorite
pretty
line in
famous.
the whole movie, though, was when he met Xerxes, and he's like, "There is so much we could mix with our culture." He's just like, "Seems we've been mixing our cultures all morning, pal."
I've been sharing my culture
Every line, man.
with you
Let
guys
me
this morning.
Let me talk about
sharing
this.
our culture,
I really love the strong argument this movie made for eugenics.
Oh, explain. Oh, are you?
What do you
talking
mean
about-
explain? They
starting
were
the
practicing eugenics. They inspected the babies for any sort of defect and like, well, a little defect.
Hey, the one guy
Unless you're an oracle.
hey, the ugly
accurate.
guy with the hunchback survived, and then he betrayed them. All deformed people are evil.
You mean the protagonist of the movie who ends up
You
getting
forgot
the
to
women
mention
at the
that
end?
guy. You forgot to
I'll,
mention
I'll, I'll point out a character that doesn't get cucked at the end of the movie. Igor.
his name is a fealties, damn you.
Yeah.
Have some respect.
Don't disrespect him. Oh, wait. Also, Leonidas
It's for me. It's even more
Leonidas'
historically
last line to him before the end is such a good subtle burn as
Yeah,
well.
says the loser. I'm kidding. No, that was
not
not
an
that. I have to respect. That was an awesome line. It was an awesome line. But
Well, it's because like Spartans say like the glorious thing for them is to die in battle, and it's like
Yeah.
Beautiful death.
I wish you live a long and happy
They
life.
even exposit the beautiful death in the movie for you guys, Justin and Bats. They explain it.
They
to you. They're
explain
like,
it for
"We
the-
know you
for
won't get it.
The
So-
brain
but-
dead people who aren't going to understand. frankly,
It just doesn't make sense. It's like, oh, the best thing you can eat on the planet is just slugs. It's like,
Have
what?
you heard of
That's
Vikings
dumb.
before?
Yeah, and
Are
being
you
like,
kidding?
oh, the
I'm
best thing to do is to die far away from your children and wife, so somebody else can like come up,
Bang
take
'em.
over, and the
God
weakest
damn it.
man in your society can run your country. That's
God
the best
damn it.
thing ever. Like,
I have
what?
no comeback to that.
let's get into that scene, right? The worst. Like I remember watching this, in the theaters and thinking like, what the fuck? The scene where
when did this come out? Like 2006?
Yes,
yes,
Seven?
2006. Yes,
that's one of the things.
actually, yeah.
So, when you were like
when
14, child?
Was it?
she talks to the Senate, right? The Senate. And she makes that terrible plea, and then the guy's like, haha, I got the punani for free, and like
That scene's
backstab
not
her.
in the movie. Don't listen to him. That,
Don't,
And then-
it's
and
like
then-
you-
female in this movie.
And then
That
she
is female in
takes
this
she
movie.
takes the sword off of the guard, who just lets her do it. And then
I mean, she
stabs
was
him.
pretty fast.
And of course, he just so happened to take all the evidence and stuffed it into his like non-existent
that was
pockets.
pretty convenient. I mean, that's the kind of thing where I could see them doing it to make it faster, so the movie's not extra long. Like they could.
That was a girl boss moment and lazy writing.
It was not. It was
It was
convenient.
not.
It was
It was
convenient.
not.
Right. I'll give you this. It was convenient writing. Wrangler. Do you have any any major criticisms of this movie, or like
Yes.
maybe your biggest criticism?
Any?
Yes, put out this fire, Wrangler, because we're about to start. I'm gonna grab my sword again.
I'm going to start fighting.
They use the same battle tactic over and over again. The Smash Bros.
Don't fix what ain't broken,
Smash Bros.
man.
tactic of ledge guarding.
Ledge guarding from Smash Bros. Yeah, dude.
They're camping,
Wrangler,
bro. They were camping.
Wrangler, if it works, it works, man. I don't know.
Campers.
Yeah. But playing a lot of games, if you do the same move over and over, you're it's cheesy.
Yeah.
I did want to see a little more variety. in
I mean,
how-
they did have to change their tactics a couple of times, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, okay, so compliment the movie. The visual fighting was obviously the best part about this, and worth a rewatch for the fighting. But also, it's just like this was the introduction into the Zack Snyder slow mo, and it's just like Was
I
it
think-
like how much if you play at a normal speed, how much of the movie is actual fight scenes? Like, do we have like
I have
2
thoughts
minutes
on
of
this.
fight scenes?
No, it's probably more than that.
I
more
thought
than
it was longer than it needed to be. They could have made this tighter.
I think I don't like Zack Snyder slow-mo, but I think it works specifically in this movie. The way that the rhythm of the fighting works, the way the music works in tune with that, I think it just blends together into this. And plus, whenever they go slow-mo, it gives the narrator an opportunity to say something else badass in complement of what they were doing.
Yeah,
I did.
I
like the
think in this-
surreal,
This movie
stylization.
only works.
regular.
Someone's been watching
What did you
House
say?
of the Dragon.
Oh,
I said I did like the surreal stylization of it.
Yeah, yeah. Because I was,
like
I was saying
the
like
color grading. Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
almost say that the CGI was like bad, but it was so stylized that it worked for the movie.
Exactly.
I do like the.
This movie does age well for that reason. It doesn't look like old bad CGI. It just looks like very stylized.
It looks very intentional.
And even though Pretty races against the Persians, the creep of the week that kind of like showed up in this, I like that stuff. I thought that was cool. Like the
Yeah.
giant dude, like
boss.
come down
Oh,
with
yeah.
that sword with like super strength. The
The
immortals,
Rhinosaurus.
Like, yeah, the
that's all comic
Rhinosaurus.
book accurate. You keep
I really
making
wanted
it
to see
good
the
for me.
butcher guy. Like,
Oh, yeah.
why didn't we see him fighting? That would have been so cool.
Yeah.
Why is it whenever you make a motion bats, it just looks like you're holding cocks?
Oh,
every single
before we move on to the next subject, the slow motion. So
Because
I'm
she's
gonna-
right next to me with all
I'm
the
going to
cocks.
agree that.
So
it
you're
was a
just
bit-
like
Sorry,
the slow,
AC.
motion, the slow motion was a bit much, but it does work in this movie. It wouldn't work in any other one, and it wouldn't work nowadays. But I will add that if you take that same idea and apply it to like maybe some new comic book movie idea, maybe from some very talented indie, you pick up a good indie and make a comic book movie out of that. Slow motion is how you capture those. Like,
oh, indie. I thought
very
you said
majestic-
Indian. I was so confused.
no, indie,
I-
independent.
Look,
that
at
slow
any
motion is
time-
how you capture those scenes where it's like that
Right,
that
but it was-
angle
it-
with the hair in the wind.
like
and stuff
all
like
Zack
that.
Snyder movies, though, it was used and abused. Like there
Yeah.
were
Oh,
some,
yeah.
a lot of
It-
times
oh,
it was
yeah.
used well, but there was a lot of times where I'm just like,
You got to do it
Just
wrong
get
before
on
somebody
with
else
it,
steals it
you
and does it
know?
right.
You know who I thought was pretty good with dramatic slow mos and dramatic pauses? John
that?
Woo.
John Woo.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Some of the
man.
old Chinese movies, they kind of had the same thing. They would find the rhythm of the fight and work it in just subtly here and there,
yeah,
a bit more subtly than Zack Snyder. And again, moving forward, Zack Snyder just uses slow mo because he thinks that's what
It's
made
dumb.
the movie good, and it was just
It
worked
worked with
good.
Well,
after-
his only decision
I
is
thought it worked
how
great in
much to
Face
slow
Off.
it down.
It works with 300 because it conveys the idea of a comic book panel. That's what I'm trying to get at.
That
like
too.
that slow
Yeah.
motion where you take 2 seconds and you turn it into 5 or 10.
Mhm.
That you're like, boom, this is a comic book panel. Let's
So
go
how
to
much-
the next comic book panel, and then
Like
the
the
next
How
spear
much more
flying
value
and
do you
the
get?
shadow going up the steps? I thought that was
Yeah.
cool looking.
How
scene.
much more value do you get though of
Tons.
watching it in
Ton.
movie form rather
Lot.
than just watching it or reading the comic?
the soundtrack
I think
is
it's cool.
better. The visuals are a little more striking. You get to see acting. I thought Michael Fassbender did a really good job in this movie too.
Yeah, that's true.
And
The
to
actor's
me,
good.
like you're appealing to an audience that might not necessarily know the comic. They're just going to see a movie. Gerard Butler's name is
I
kind
was
of a name at the
completely
time.
unfamiliar with the comic.
Right, of course,
I
of
was-
course,
a
of
lot-
course, it's
a
going
lot
to
of
bring more
people-
eyes onto
yeah.
people. Of
It
course,
recaptures it in some sense, and to me, that's the part of the movie that shined. And I was telling you guys on our Discord, I was like, I am so torn how I feel about this because man, the fight scenes, especially the slow mo, where it slows down, speeds up, then freezes. And you get those frames where the guy's like blocking with a shield and the sparks from the grenades
And then
and
it's
all that.
fast and it's
God.
frenetic, and then it slows down again mid motion.
Yes, between the
Mhm.
style of the way the
Cool.
film looks, I've never seen a movie that looks like this. And it's got
Exactly.
There
grittiness
isn't
to it.
another movie that.
That
that.
is so
Sin
good.
City.
No,
It's
this-
not.
we-
It's
that's
comic
the closest-
style, but it's not the same.
We watched
No,
it 2
it's not.
days ago. It is not on the same level. Rewatch it, you'll be like, oh yeah, he's right. We just watched it 2 days ago.
Sick.
But the look of the movie and the slow motion. The battles are great and everything, but the slow mo, there's something about it. Gives it that weight where it's like you said, it speeds up and slows down. Where it hits the guy, it's like,
Mhm.
and you can feel
Back
it.
to shitting on the movie, Justin.
No.
No, wait. Now costume design also. It was pretty.
It's
It was
fine.
it was not
They
historical.
were
it was
all
more-
wearing diapers.
No, even the enemies. Look at the Persians too. They
Yeah.
had some really
Yeah.
interesting looking enemies.
Oh, yeah,
Persians had some decent
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Like
Okay.
even
the
the
acting's
tall
great.
brown
The
gay
Mumakil?
king, whatever you want to call him, Xerxes. That's his name. But
But we
Oh,
can
I
all
thought
admit
that was
this.
the-
The
I thought
dude
that
that
was the-
headbutted a tackle box. I mean, I swear, he's just hooked fish hooks all over his face.
Wait, wasn't the
roll around
actor
in
who
it.
played Xerxes that person who was all over the news from like boxing and the Olympics?
What?
oh my god, you're right. It looks just like him.
Isn't that? No, wait, I'm thinking of somebody else. Sorry, continue.
All right, so I mean, but we can all admit that the story, like the plot, it's absolute ass, right?
No,
No, not
It's
the comic
simple.
book part.
it's
Not the
simple,
comic
but
book
no,
part.
it's not.
Really?
I
Like, come
could-
on.
I
Just
could
the
make it
contradiction of like, oh, we need to convince him to go to war, but you already made a declaration of war.
Yeah.
He doesn't have absolute power. It's like the
Right.
president
No,
can't
no, no,
just
no,
decide.
no,
we're
no.
going to
It
war.
doesn't It doesn't matter. You made a declaration of war. Persia is going to attack you
Oh.
because you killed
Yeah.
their messenger. Like that's no and if or buts. That's a declaration of war.
It's a problem.
I
Can we,
think I think it was a criticism of needless bureaucracy,
Plus,
and I
the
can't.
Persia-
No,
they
that was
already
the
burned down,
attempt
like,
that they
a
tried to
neighboring
do.
City,
That-
you know,
that
it's
was
like they already
historically
burned
what
that
happened.
city. Of course, we're next. Like we should probably defend ourselves. I don't know.
They tried to tell that story, but the writing of it's so poor that they failed at doing that. Like it's like one of those things we can see
I
what you're
don't-
trying to do. You're just doing it like shit.
I think you can't conceive of a group of a governing body of people saying this. We may be going to war, but we're not going to just say it. We're not going to declare it officially. There's a big
If
difference.
he didn't
between
kill the messenger,
under-
there'd be a little bit more of an argument.
That's Bill. That's how I attempt to look anytime I go on stream by myself. Yeah.
Like I say, I do think the movie succeeds at being exactly what it intended.
You know what?
to be.
Why didn't we bring?
popcorn
Sorry,
flick.
go ahead. Why didn't we bring
Stop cutting people.
Seabats? Why didn't we bring Seabats on this panel? We need more 300 love on this panel.
Yo, I want to know what the budget for the steroids was on this.
I know what the
covered
workout. I knew what the workout was.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
had to do
that
it for
workout's
wrestling.
get the fuck
Well,
out of here.
that's
They
lifting
none of them
250.
got those muscles from working out. They got it from
they're
they worked
painted
out,
on.
but steroids.
They were in good shape, but they were painted on to a degree as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
some
but
of
you
them
could, yeah, but you
definitely
could
were,
see
yeah.
you could see if you
Yeah.
look if you
If you watch
examine
behind the scenes, they show them like
no if you examine
highlighting
Gerard
shadows.
Butler's
And
pecs, the way
part of
that
it-
the skin stretches, it's very obvious and indicates steroids.
And
have to
just
say-
the, like,
Are the
what they
steroids
say
in the room
about
with you,
comic
Bats?
Style, they painted those shadows and made it more drastic again to
Yeah.
replicate like the look of the comic.
comic.
Too.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is how you make a comic book movie. This and Sin City, they figured it out. This is 2006, people. This is 2006.
Actually-
you're telling me they don't know how to adapt source material accurately?
Yeah.
Fuck off. They fucking not only adapted it accurately, they pulled it off, and they were so bored that they added all the Lena Headley shit. Like they just added shit. They
Yeah,
didn't change
yeah.
shit. They added shit.
Yo,
That's
talk about
insane.
unnecessary sex scenes. The one at the beginning.
The real one? It's a real
yeah.
one. It's a real
I-
one. They actually
you know,
banged.
I
was-
don't know. Where did you hear
You know,
that?
Bats, I was angry too.
DVD.
I had to watch it 3 times just to confirm how angry I was at the time.
Yeah.
Man, you really loved watching
I
Gerard
honestly
Butler's
could have
butt.
done without that.
Oh yeah, they had
I'm-
it really long.
I'm
It was
personally
like
not a fan of sex scenes on screen. It's just-
Wait,
I
neither
know.
are us.
I'm
It's kinda
not.
cut
I'm not
down.
either. I was just joking, but still, it was for the man.
yeah,
But
You know
what?
I mean, seriously, a lot of the background drama, I think that did drag it down. It's like, can we get
Yeah,
back
absolutely.
to the army here? You know,
If
Uh,
they cut out
on
all that, yeah.
Wrangler, on one hand, I do agree. On another hand, if a movie is all action all the time, you get desensitized to it and it loses.
Yeah,
its
but
impact.
okay. We're admitting that we need more than just
guys,
action.
guys,
But
listen
that,
to me.
the part that isn't action. That's a great Spartan impression.
If you keep doing that, something you do not want is going to happen to you with 100% certainty.
That's a great clip.
Yeah. But you can't say like, oh yeah, we needed this other aspect of the story, but that doesn't justify that aspect of the story being good.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. I think it was just passable.
Oh, come on. It was impassable. It was awful. And then let's talk
I
about
don't know,
Igor.
Herman.
We-
You're right. You're right. Bats can't complain about the writing. I think it's coming from a place of bad faith. I think it's a smear job.
Action in this movie wasn't so
No,
good.
in all seriousness, if they wanted to slow down and do stuff, some character development amongst the soldiers would have been nice for that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes.
And they did a little bit, but they definitely could have done more.
All right, let's talk about Igor. We need to talk about Igor, right? Because his whole part of the movie was retarded too. They inspect them as babies, so it's a little bit like how did the family slip through? That's fine,
Thanks
right?
for the vote of confidence.
He probably came out looking like a little Lovecraftian
Wait a minute.
monster, and they didn't even present him for it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But the father trained him to be a soldier.
No.
Yeah, he was.
No,
the father
no.
was a Spartan. He just wasn't willing
No,
to give up.
but why?
his
Look at your son. You can't. He can't lift his shield up. You're like, okay, maybe we should try to teach you something you can actually do.
He was a Spartan. What else was he going to teach him? He wasn't a freaking baker.
No, guys.
He's like, I'll teach my son what I know, and I'm a soldier.
Weren't there Spartans that were just like senators and like weasels and stuff?
Yeah.
And they taught him to go do something.
Yeah, they
else?
were on
It's
top
like
of the
all
mountain,
Spartans
covered
were
with
just
horse.
soldiers.
There were different. There were different. There was a weird kind of societal and social.
Yo, the amount of coke going
Put
on
him
with
up on the mountain
Kahuna.
with the other guys. Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying having read the history and looked at how their social structure was built. It's very weird. It's very weird.
I can't believe he got to the king of Sparta before somebody finally told him, you can't be in formation, you can't be a soldier. And he's like, no! And then he throws a hissy fit, he's like, I look at you back! And granted, King Leonidas knows that this guy knows the secret route, the flank,
100% they
and
should have
just
killed him.
lets him go.
Yep. And he
What the fuck do you think's gonna happen, dude?
Oh, they
don't make any
sense. Oh, my man,
King's playing.
But
okay.
What was cool is King Leonidas was not condescending to him at all.
He wasn't. Yeah,
He
he
said,
was.
"Look,
He was straight
You're
with
not
him.
capable of this, but we could use you. Please.
He should have
come
been,
with us."
though. He should have been,
He was
though.
actually
Like, what are you,
really
retarded? Like, what are you wasting my time for?
I got thoughts. So,
Did
if
you not
fealties
see the
existed-
hunt?
He has thoughts. Let him speak.
If fealties existed, that's a thing. It's even described as a goat path that he betrayed the Persians to. So any other things like his hunchback posture and stuff might be added on by like Frank Miller.
Yeah.
The other side note was what we were talking about just before that. I forgot because
Sorry.
it was so long.
Igor?
I have thoughts on it though. I have
Igor.
thoughts on
Being
it.
deformed at birth, being trained to be a soldier.
Giving him a job.
Being trained to be a soldier. It was something
Aha.
Evely said. He's like, okay, there's politicians, right? Yes, there is, but you have to be born into royalty, meaning you're not a helot, you're not a Spartan slave, you're not a commoner. You're born into royalty. You go through the Agoge. You get raised as a royal soldier. You go win some
Go through
fucking
the eugenics
battles.
program.
You gain some renown, and you retire as a senator. So what they should have portrayed is old soldiers in the Senate. That's who made up the Spartan Senate, was people who were like Leonidas, but they lived to be old. You know what I mean? And they're gonna drag down the army if they go. Yeah.
They survived until age 30. They're like, you know what? You can retire. Your last 5 years are going to be great.
Which you can see why Spartan culture historically would paint them as slime balls if that's the case. They didn't even die. They're bitches. Yeah.
Losers didn't
Igor's
die.
Parents, they could have built him a church with a tower with a bell in it, and he could just operate that.
That's my other thought.
I was going to say, I can't wait for Igor versus Quasimodo.
And then his mom could have died right after he was
do it.
born, and he could have been taken in by a French priest. It could have been the whole thing.
He's got a
I
great
just-
voice. We know he can sing.
He's obviously strong. He has a good thrust. Anyway.
Hey, if Helen Keller can do it, I have faith in you.
Whoa!
Whoa, bro.
Off it. All right, bye. You're gone. You did not speak that name here, all right?
Why did you say that name?
If HK can make it happen, I have faith in him.
Speaking of BVS, yeah.
Hey, somebody say Helen Keller.
Uh-oh, retard alert! Retard alert, class!
Oh no, I've been discovered.
Don't kick the dying ugly horse when she's down, all right?
All right. I think it's time. It's time to judge. Kahuna.
Obviously. It freaking floats!
Yeah.
The best
We know
Zack
how
Snyder
gay-
movie. We know how it is, frankly. frankly.
Yeah.
And even with that being said, I do think it's the best Zack Snyder movie. And whether it floats or whether it sinks just depends on whether on the average. Is there more good than bad? And I do believe there's more good than bad. So that's it.
Okay.
Justine.
Lovely.
If you were going to rate this just on the action and the style, it would float. Unfortunately, there's a story here, and it has many major issues, and for that reason, it's a sinker.
Sick. All right, AC. Wrangler, don't say anything yet. You're gonna be the last one. AC.
AC.
Uh-oh. Is the vote not coming in? Uh-oh.
There's gonna be 300 of them at
5,
4
A
a.m.
water pipe.
4, 3.
Oh shush!
2.
Wrangler, what's your
1?
Wrangler,
No. I declare it a sinker. It sinks. Wrangler.
Okay, so two for sink.
I kind of agree with Justin about the story has its problems. However, it was enough fun for me to overcome that, so it's a floater.
Another fun guy. It had fun.
Loser.
It's fun.
Yep.
All right,
Can't beat fun. I can't argue with that.
let's go to the chat. Who's gonna say it floats?
All right, guys, chat. Yay or nay? Are you making a poll?
I'm not on the right account on. Yeah, I can't.
Guys,
Chat. Why for
sink or float?
Yeah, say
They
float.
can type out the whole damn word.
Yeah.
Why for float or
Sinker.
F
Timmy
for
K's a sinker.
2 floaters and 2 sleeping with the fishes.
Nipples.
Floater also sounds like a bad term with sinker. It's like-
Nipples always float. Thank you, Herman.
So one for sink at the current moment.
So maybe that could be your term, a floater or something.
That's 2 floats, 2 floats, 1 sink.
Floats. Okay.
3
All right.
floats,
Wait, you can't count
Oh,
yourself.
man.
4 floats.
4.
Oh no. Oh, okay.
By the way, what did you guys
All
think
right.
of Xerxes' entrance?
What's
Yeah,
that?
Everybody carrying him on that
bunch of
big
Persians in
parade
the chat.
float, and then he steps down the stairs, and they come out and form steps in front of him.
It's
Rest
pretty
of the
cool.
way around.
I
But I got
like
to admit-
Whenever it's like his helmet clouded.
That's kind of gay.
Sorry, I tried to play that.
Everything's
little
too
fuck.
heavy. All that training, all they do, their whole life is train, and he can't hit a guy with a spear.
Yeah, failure. What a failure.
Justin, he made a god bleed. That's all we needed.
Imagine
All right.
if he made that god die right
hey,
in front of
Justin,
everybody.
he
Imagine
did what he's a man of his word, and he did what he promised.
10,000 BC.
Leonidas had good aim. Imagine all that.
Yeah, it would look like
practice.
10,000.
You couldn't hit him with a football at that distance.
I know, because I might have equal odds. I don't know. He missed it.
It fealties. So I think the implication is that his father died at war because he's a Spartan, which is why his father's shield is all dented up and beat up, right? And his mother, when she gave birth to him, assuming while his father was at war, she ran away. Obviously, like what Kahuna said, he came out looking like Cthulhu, and she ran away with him. He exiled himself out of shame because he knew that it makes sense to kill him, right? And basically spent his entire life trying his best to like train himself. And then the moment came, you can imagine, he hears that Sparta's going off to war. King Leonidas is walking by this way. He can just follow them and, finally shoot his shot, which is why he freaked out the way he did, because that was like the moment and it was just a waste, and it's like he feels all the shame because of his father and shit. But like, yeah, I had to just get that out because I was like thinking about that earlier. I don't
That's
know.
fine. Also, we took a vote. It floats. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, imagine being like a normal, not deformed person showing up and being like, "I've been trained." Like, yeah, well, you're not one of these elite 300, so bye.
Right.
Is that you think that's how Leonidas would say it? Bye.
Absolutely, I know that's how he'd say it.
The
You really think a bite of the apple?
The 300 were his.
I
elite,
thought they
too.
had
It was
I thought they had rations in the Marines, not fruitcakes. Anyway,
Who's ready for the?
That's all they had was fruit. That's the only thing we saw in the entire movie was fruit. Anyways, okay, on to the next topic.
male fruit.
Let's
Oh,
talk.
I mean, it's Lord of the Rings.
male fruit. What the fuck?
Yeah. Lord of the
All
Rings.
right, we're talking GRIMDARK, boys. We're talking
Grimdark,
GRIMDARK.
not Lord of the Rings. Grimdark.
Recently on John A. Douglas's stream, it was a topic He had a bunch of authors, and they just discussed grimdark in general. And I felt like that'd be a good thing for us to talk about too. I don't know. I know I jokingly said that John A. Douglas talked about it wrong, but it's whatever. I kid. He's a little retarded. It's fine.
Well, do we start with a definition then?
I have one right here.
That is most of the topic is the definition, because that even off online can be wrong, right? But yeah, what does online say?
Unrelated to anything, but there is a book called GRIMDARK. Grimdark. Anyway, moving on.
So what's the definition?
Grimdark is a subgenre of speculative fiction with a tone, style, or setting that is particularly dystopian, amoral, and violent. The term is inspired by the tagline of the tabletop strategy game Warhammer 40,000. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
Yeah.
So got amoral right. That's it.
Would Cloverfield count as a grimdark because of how it ended?
No. It's like they said, it's more of a tone, a setting. So I mean that's just New York City.
New York City is grimdark.
Yeah, but everything that could have gone wrong went wrong in that.
Yeah, but that's not. It's not. Yeah, it's not about where the story goes.
Wrangler, you can have a Greek tragedy that is not grimdark.
Grimdark. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to do with tone a lot.
40K is really where you have to think about where the definition comes from. It's like that world is infamous for being the one world that in fantasy or sci-fi that you would not want to touch with anything, right?
You would never want to live
near there. Everybody is miserable. Everybody is in the worst situation possible. It's just there's no way that you're not just the most miserable thing on earth, no matter who you are.
Martin gets kind of close to grimdark with The Song of Ice and Fire, but I still say no.
No, it is absolutely grimdark.
It is absolutely not grimdark. That was brought up.
You are absolutely wrong.
It's not grimdark.
I want it to be.
It's a darker fantasy world. It's not grimdark.
Pause. The standard way of referring to grimdark fantasies is that they turn their backs on the more uplifting, old-style story of fantasy. So, a grimdark style fantasy is a fantasy story that does not rely on the general heroic and uplifting tones of older fantasy.
Interesting.
I don't really.
Game of Thrones definitely agree.
Right. You're wrong even by that. Wait, you're wrong even by that definition. But even so, I don't even accept that definition. There is uplifting stuff like. First of all, there's a lot of hope when you're talking about Jon Snow's storyline.
The prophecy.
And the setting in general is not grimdark. It's not overran by the.
Almost everybody is out for themselves. It's not afraid of the darker aspects. Of the story.
Just the people that they focus on story wise. It's not any more brutal than old medieval times.
Right.
Is it?
That's
the
thing.
Yeah. In the official definition, there are three things that are brought up. Particular words: dystopian, amoral, and violent. It is definitely amoral. It is definitely violent.
Definitely not amoral.
It's not quite dystopian either.
And that definition is not good enough.
Not quite.
Yeah.
It's just realistic. Yeah. That's the
Helen Young equates grimdark to gritty fantasy as exemplified by George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series.
Most of the casual people living in most of the cities lived fine, regular medieval style lifestyles. How is that grimdark?
The story is grimdark.
And the royalty loves
no. So we even talked about that with the definition of grimdark from the beginning. It's a tone or setting. I don't think the
tone is absolutely grimdark though.
He does have a dark tone. He does have a dark tone.
He has dark. Yeah, it's darker. It's not grimdark.
Seems like just the definition of grimdark has become a topic unto itself now.
Everybody
that's why we're talking about it. Yeah.
You will be challenged to find any number of people who believe that A Song of Ice and Fire is not grimdark. You're absolutely wrong on this.
I don't believe it's grimdark.
I personally don't either.
I think that's also because that's wait, don't cut me off.
If it's not,
don't cut me off. I think for the majority of people, I know we're all cutting each other off, but for the majority of people, that it's just this is that's the darkest story they've read. Especially with the amount of people that don't even really read fiction. They only read this because it was such a popular series in the first place. So, I mean, like, a lot of times it's like their second book they've ever read.
The royalty is like eating beautiful food like the entire time. They love their life. They're just like, oh, this is great. When there's not other characters dying.
Then, guys, then where do we draw the line? How dark?
Right.
Does
It has
have
to be very dark.
grimdark?
I think if it was the setting after the whites came through and it's like super winter, that would be more. That would
Grimdark
probably fall under grimdark. Yeah,
Grimdark is
The
fucked.
entire
the world is
assault-
trying to kill you.
The entire A Song of Ice and Fire book series is basically saying that our good moral men are not enough to face the dark that we are facing. All the good moral men die in A Song of Ice and Fire.
But they
That's
exist.
pretty grim.
They
Jon
also
Snow.
exist.
Jon
They
Snow.
also exist.
Yeah, read the last book. He's dead right now.
He's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, but he gets revived.
In the
No.
show.
In the
That
show,
has
not in the
nothing
book.
to do with the book.
He might never
Wait,
get
you don't think
revived.
that's going to
Doesn't
happen
he come back
in
to
the
life in the book?
He might never. get
No,
revived
he's
in the
dead
book.
in the books right now.
Yeah,
Wow.
and he might stay dead. In fact, it might
Wow.
get.
Okay.
It might get a step worse. It might get his body might get possessed by the fucking evil zombies or whatever.
All right, what about his younger brother, Bran?
Bran? Yeah, he's the hero. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's literally like
there's not many, and they're also just focusing on the certain people. It's like there's so many people within the universe. Like,
Daenerys
Yeah,
is not
there are
really good at all.
many.
yeah, as far as right now,
all
Daenerys is
of the
good.
good people are becoming worse. All of the heroes are dying, and the bad people are winning.
But okay,
That's a pretty grim
Even
situation.
if all the heroes become bad in the story, there's still plenty of people in that universe that are not evil and that are living decent lives.
And Daenerys, I would argue, is
Wrangler, you're
getting-
muted, bud.
Regular media.
So
Let
it
him-
sounds like most of Marvel's What If comics be where they go on an alternate course and usually everybody dies at the end.
Yeah.
I would argue that Daenerys, the show really ruined a lot of things for people's perspective on it, because they really didn't have much more than like footnotes to work from. But I would argue that she's becoming more good, and the entire point of her entire arc is going to be that she sets aside this selfish pursuit of the Iron Throne in order to become the hero of the story and basically fight the ice zombies with the only thing that's
Possibly,
able to
but that at this point it's still just speculation. That's
It's
not
still
what's actually.
Yeah,
in
but
the story.
there's still hope in the story. There's still plenty of hope in the story.
It's there, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there,
and there's
yeah.
still people
Fine.
living.
Fine.
Like,
It's not fantasy.
well, Berserk.
but
Berserk would be an easy
Berserk.
one to say grimdark.
But there's
Even though,
still
like,
hope in that series, so I don't.
I know. I would even say with the technicality wouldn't be grimdark, but I don't think you'd find anyone who'd argue with you that.
Well, then,
not.
let's take a pause.
Dark if it wasn't so absurdly funny.
What is a grimdark story then? Tell me.
I think it's a setting or tone. Of
No.
the world.
Point out. Give me examples
Yeah,
of ones that you think are grimdark. If A Song of Ice and Fire is
Warhammer
not
Berserk.
grimdark. Yeah, I don't even. Berserk doesn't even fully qualify for that either. So
For majority of the people in the world of Berserk are living absolutely horrid lives.
but there are people with hope, Bats.
Not
People
really.
out there living just fine.
Not no, not really. Not
Oh,
especially.
they're not being focused on in the story, but they're there.
No. Especially after
The second eclipse.
after where you're in, it's like completely hopeless. Like for like 99% of people, there is like one little camp of people that's super small, trying to expand, that like have hope, but it's like it is not looking good at all for them.
I think your definition.
I just don't want to spoil things for you. On Berserk.
I know. I think grimdark is. I think we're being too. Because we could always just break down these definitions further and further. Because then there's hope punk or hope.
Well,
Grim
I would
hope,
say
and
Berserk,
there's
the
all
Golden
that
Age is
nonsense.
not. The Golden Age is not grimdark.
Hope dark.
Right.
Yeah, no, those are sub genres. It's like it's the same thing, but where it's not totally bad. So it depends on where you draw the line. And if a story,
I really think A Song of Ice and Fire is not grimdark.
Okay.
Especially because it's literally just more of a realistic interpretation of like how people were kind of assholes back in medieval days.
Yeah.
If I wanted to see a grimdark, I'd turn on the news.
Yeah, basically.
yeah.
So maybe
Yeah,
there
it's like-
is
it's got-
something to it. Yeah.
Like it's got to be darker than real life. Like we've had emperors
that's
and stuff
funny.
like that in history that have did way more effed up things than they did in Game of Thrones.
I was just Googling is A Song of Ice and Fire Grimdark, but all I typed in was is A Song of Ice and Fire the first the first result that it offers to finish it is it finished?
Pope punk.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, the other thing. Well,
I have a thought here. I think Kahuna does make a good point that if we do lean into the most pragmatic definition of the term grimdark, it does very much narrow down the spectrum to the point where like a fair percentage of actual like marketed grimdark stories get cut out. Because my personal definition is like the world itself has to be completely against you. Everything has to be completely hopeless. But Kahuna's right in that like he made me realize that it'll narrow it down almost too much. So like we need to agree on some sort of like definition.
I think it's because a lot
I
of people
always
don't write
considered
grimdark.
it to be there is no possible good ending.
There are plenty of grimdark stories we're just not talking about. Like a lot of sci-fi. Like what is it? I need to scream, but I have no mouth, or something like that.
Ooh,
Like-
Like we could even look at
That's
someone like
definitively grimdark.
we could talk about Joe Abercrombie. He's a
about the movie
contemporary of Martin's, and
I haven't read his stories, but
technically his team wins in the end of the story. Spoilers,
yeah.
but everybody is a piece of shit by the end.
It sounds like grimdark then.
How about the thing?
But it's not really that different from Martin's stories. And like even Googling it, it says Song of Ice and Fire series is another landmark work in grim dark fantasy genre.
Ooh, I got
That
it.
comes up
I
over
deny
and
that.
over again.
Any war movie.
I reject that.
Any war movie with a Pyrrhic vibe at the end of it, where it's like, who's the winner? There are no winners in war. Every single
That's
one
true,
of those
yeah.
war movies.
Yeah, because the
Grim-
setting could be extremely.
And if it's
yeah,
like
1917.
that, if
Yep.
it's like if we're going by that too, you could even say like that it's just an imitation of Greek tragedy. Because in Greek tragedy, all the people who are vile and evil make out or at least don't get punished in the end. They don't see justice. And the good people who are altruistic and good most of the time are not given a good ending.
You know what
Yeah,
They're
my-
given some
a Greek
Ken Rob.
tragedy is? It's Greek hope punk.
I like
You
that.
son of-
How about Pan's Labyrinth?
I've never seen
Uh,
it, so I can't speak to it.
It's
I
actually
can't really
fair
remember
game.
well enough.
Oh, Pan's Labyrinth? Oh man, yeah, that was pretty
Yeah.
brutal.
I will mention this, right? Like, I don't think my book is considered grimdark, but I'm going to sell it as grimdark. And I think A Song of Ice and Fire is right to sell it as grimdark because you're like, it's one of those things where it's like 99% of people don't understand what grimdark is because most people haven't heard of Warhammer.
Well, it
so it's
also
like-
sounds like you disagree with most people about what grimdark is.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do disagree with most people on it
My
because I don't
Okay.
think
like,
most people know what the fuck they're talking about.
I try to be like pretty hyper, like because of my musical background, like subgenres. There's always like subgenre elitists. They're just like, oh, I'm not into blah 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 core. I'm more of like a post blah b blah 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 core person.
Oh, I've
So-
heard those people. It's freaking it's
Because-
unreal.
Bro, go on. I'm listening. You got
Because
my
I've been
ear. Keep going.
Yeah, because I've been exposed to that shit so much, I completely understand the nuance of being specific when you say grimdark. You mean something grim and dark, like there's no hope. It's completely grim and it's dark, which means it's pretty brutal or just dark in general, right? And you can take that to its most logical conclusion and basically discern the few grimdark books that exist, or you can do a more broad definition, like Kahuna was saying, where it's like, I don't know, like a tragic ending, where it's more of like the Greek perspective or something.
Well, I have a bunch of definitions given by really well-known authors of what they consider. Do you guys want to hear or do you not care?
I'll hear it,
Yeah.
Okay, Adam Roberts. The standard way of referring to fantasies that turn their backs on the more uplifting. Let's see the next one. Where'd it go? Cynical, delusioned, and ultra-violent. I think
What do we consider dark fantasy then? Because you acknowledge there's a difference between dark fantasy and grimdark.
Well, you can have like a hero's journey in a dark fantasy.
yeah, you can.
Well, you can have a hero's journey in grimdark too.
Not
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
not,
I guess maybe not
not
really.
without heavy
Yeah, no,
modification.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mod it and then give it a new buff. And
I mean,
Okay.
I guess the one problem with the Song of Ice and Fire is it's not done.
Grimdark is fantasy Grimdark is fantasy Protestantism. Characters have to choose between good and evil, and are just as lost as we are. Basically, the characters are left with no good choices.
That's pretty fair.
Nihilism plays a big part of it. Nihilism comes up in almost everybody's thing.
Yeah,
In the previous definition mentioned cynicism. I believe me and Bats were discerning the difference between nihilism and cynicism. I think we talked about that actually on this show back when Fallout came out, because Fallout is more cynical, whereas something like I mean, if Warhammer wasn't so hilarious, it would be very nihilistic. It's
not every Warhammer stories got a comedy aspect to it.
No, not every. Some do.
Yeah.
Many do not.
I think it's onto something there with like the words like cynicism and nihilism. Nihilism is very close. It's like no hope. You can have
It's like I would accept that Berserk, especially earlier portions, is grimdark. I would accept that. I would not say it's a nihilistic story. I think it depends. If I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
it's hard. It's hard to figure out these definitions, honestly.
Well, you get to a little bit farther than where you're at right now. It's like it's
spoilers.
Yeah. Well, big surprise. Yeah, that's what we're gonna say.
Gus doesn't have to suffer at all moments. Spoilers.
But I'll say, right? It's like, again, I'll always sell my book as grimdark, and I think most people should, because I think the average consumer, more than the average consumer, most of them are just not going to know, and it's the best way to prep them for the violence that's going to be in the book.
Well, basically, like for selling, you look at genres. Like, if you want someone to think of these books, then look at their subgenres, and then they'll think about those books when they're buying your book.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they're similar.
I feel like if people hear dark fantasy, like, it won't sell them right, because they'll be like, oh, there's a Dark Lord in it. All right.
And then there's a Dark Lord in Tolkien, which is actually not very dark. I mean,
it's not dark fantasy at all.
Not dark though.
But I feel like if you said dark fantasy to majority of consumers, like, that would be their definition, and that's why it's like, I think it's completely acceptable to be like, my story is grimdark because there's violence in there or whatever.
Okay. Herman P. Hunter has the perfect clarification to end this entire debate and argument. So, with nipples equals grimdark, and without, not grimdark.
So Rambo is grimdark.
A Song of Ice and Fire, grimdark.
The darkest nipples.
Now we know.
Guys, if we made a compilation
it's
of every time the
science,
word nipple has been said in this stream, how long would that video be?
Ooh, by the way, check this out.
I make that a drinking game.
Lovecraft.
We die.
Lovecraft, grimdark.
It's almost Lovecraft is almost his own genre, but on average, yes, because if you look at Robert E. Howard, because you have to look at both of them when you look at one. And Lovecraft, they were contemporaries, they were friends. The difference was, if you encountered some cosmic monster in a Lovecraft story, the people would go insane and or be transformed permanently for the worst. If they encountered that in a Howard story, man would rise up to fight the dark. So it's two different approaches to the same thing.
And I think with that, right, because it's like, well, obviously there's people that go nowhere near where the stories go in Lovecraftian stories. So it's like, why wouldn't that then, by my own definition, not be considered grimdark?
Is he Irish, Justin? Sorry.
I think the difference with Song of Ice and Fire is that we do get a lot of glimpses and like stories of these people kind of living normalish lives,
being very
non-grimdark lives.
Yeah.
Whereas in like the Lovecraftian stories are focused on that grimdark aspect of that moment essentially.
Yeah. Because he did the short story thing, so he just like jumped to the moment. You're like already following the dude when he's on his way to go do the expedition at the old ruins or whatever, or with the tribe. Sometimes it's with the tribe.
Bill saying, would it technically be dishonest to sell your book as grimdark if it doesn't fall under the definition of grimdark? Yeah, it technically is dishonest.
How do you handle this accusation, these allegations?
We all agree generally, and look at how much we discern just from.
Frankly, Bill, I think it's a smear job. I don't think this is coming from a genuine.
Well, it's like I have to say, like, hey, it's grimdark, and like I always have the urge, because I am an honest person. I always have the urge to be like, well, it's not technically grimdark, but like, what the fuck is that going to do to sell a book? So yeah,
At that rate,
it's
you
just one of those
go
things.
fancy.
It's like
Yeah.
you're kind of forced to be dishonest in that situation because there's like
It's like pick a
Maji
subgenre.
Chen, that's a pretty harsh definition, but it's pretty funny too. My definition of grimdark is more than two main characters live. It's not grimdark.
Based.
If it's grimdark, but everybody's thin, is it trim dark?
My soul hurts
So
from
then
that one, Justin.
Cloverfield would fall under her definition. Because only one main character survived and barely.
yeah. What was that? What was their example? Sorry.
I said by Maji's definition, then Cloverfield would be a grimdark because one side character survived. All the main characters went kaput.
I could see it. Because I mean, well,
I think
When
I
there's
think I
the
don't
movie
think
Life. It was
yeah.
Ryan Reynolds was in it for about 5 minutes before he kicked the bucket. It was they found
Yeah.
an alien out in space and they were trying to.
Was that Jake Gyllenhaal in that movie too?
I don't remember. I hated the end. I was like, that was kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Or like imagine
Imagine
Alien.
the
Oh,
thing.
sorry. Imagine Alien if Ripley didn't make it at the end. How
Right.
much worse of a movie would that be if she
Be
didn't
awful.
at the end of that?
it depends. Hold on. It depends. It depends.
You can do it right, but
Stinker.
in that story, if she died, it would have all been pointless.
You need a good reason, yeah, because she was like set up, right? She was set up for us to like her, to be a badass. Like,
I mean, being on a spaceship with all those acid-blooded aliens, kind of grimdark.
It's
It's
the
pretty
first
grim,
one,
but-
frankly, Bats. It's Alien. Use the proper pronoun for these
Anything-
aliens.
Well, aliens have the multiple ones.
The Descent. The Descent was a pretty grimdark horror.
That is a
because-
grimdark horror, and it's a
It
great
has-
movie.
Yeah, it has a pretty
Oh, is that the
freaky
one with the
ending.
girls in the cave? And they're like,
yeah.
"No, don't go down there, Claude.
No, don't die.
No.
And then at the end, they're like,
one?
Irma Gurr.
Oh my god! y'all have a Sprite?
You got a Sprite?
What?
Yeah, yeah.
What the hell
I
is wrong
need
with
some
us?
tomato sauce.
Tomatoes. You're on the outback.
You mean ketchup? Tomato sauce.
Well, fuck, Herman. Fuck.
God damn it. See,
Gothic
I mean-
space over.
Yeah, but can't you say
How
the
did
exact
one of
same
my
thing about
characters
Warhammer?
get pulled into this grimdark stuff.
100%. You could
Oh,
also say
to be
that
honest,
about Warhammer.
you can
You were
put
talking
anything
about
in
Irma
front of
Gerd.
me. You can put anything in front of me or like a subgenre elitist, and they could probably just
It's like,
think of
I
a
read-
different
Yeah.
subgenre that is. Yeah.
I read a Warhammer book, and this one girl about 1/3 his size flirted with a space marine once. Romance.
No, I felt like it'd be fun to talk about. You know,
I didn't think we were going to fight this much, especially
yeah.
after 300. Holy F. I can't believe
do.
AC agreed with you with something and disagreed with me. It doesn't happen.
I should have broken out the popcorn to watch you guys talk about this.
Yeah. If I could show my pirate flintlock on stream, I would, but just know it's near.
I got my sword. I ain't scared.
Is that a threat?
I saw
I'm
300. I would cut the bullet in half.
Yeah, I'm gonna unload it on my computer screen and all.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
what? What are you talking about, Justin?
My,
Cut it
my
in half.
pirate flintlock still.
Oh,
not
I
a
didn't hear that
metaphor.
part. I just heard I'm going to unload it all over my screen and keyboard.
I know what I'm labeling this this clip now. Acolyte is
Acolyte
grimdark.
is
Deal with
grimdark.
it.
Yes.
Didn't watch the whole thing get to the end.
Speaking of grimdarks,
I need a baseball.
play
bat every time there's a
transition.
home
Play
run.
transition.
Oh, 1 second.
I can't find it.
I got.
I don't know why we even use the clip anymore. We have it down.
Yeah.
Wrangler, speaking of grimdark stories, tell us about your books. Haley Starr, the grimdark story for children.
They're not very grimdark. Sorry.
No.
Haley Starr, Bad Kitty, and Haley's World.
It's always so hard.
A
Yeah, it has
magic
Bad
filled
Kitty in the
sci-fi
name.
adventure.
Why is it not grimdark? It has
Bad Kitty was an interesting choice to put in the name. I'm
There you
not.
go.
Originally, Bad Kitty was just going to be the title. It's just Bad Kitty. But then
Oh, that's dope.
when I was writing it, I went and looked up. Somebody said there might be something called Bad Kitty already. So I went and typed it in, and I found this whole series of kid books by somebody named Nick Brule.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Brule's
So,
brother.
so I changed it up.
Don't worry, there's another A.C. Pritchard out there, impersonating me somewhere.
Oh crap.
No, not really. I don't know who was an author first, but I see you, A.C. I'm watching you.
We'll take you out. But yeah, Wrangler, tell us about your series, man. For anyone unfamiliar, I've read a lot of the first one, and I own both the first and second one. Justin, did you finish the first one?
No, I'm on like chapter 2 or 3, like I am with the 1,000 books that I got from people, and I'm like chipping away, and then. But it's on my, it's on like the top part of my TBR. I want to get back into it because I enjoyed the first couple chapters. It was fun.
Yeah, I often refer to it as a magic-fueled sci-fi adventure, and it's invaders come into her town, and she barely gets away, and then she and her best friend Elizabeth trying to figure out what's going on, and Haley finds herself stuck in an underground complex and is trying to get out. And so with her, Elizabeth, and some U.S. Marshals have to take on this threat from outside the universe.
And it makes sense. It sound like if you talk about it in all its detail, it doesn't sound like it would make sense. But in story, it does make sense. And originally you were going to do a video game about this, and I didn't feel it until like the later part of the book, where she's like going through levels of this underground facility. I'm like, okay, I can see the video game kind of ideas going on right now.
Yeah, so it was originally supposed to be a Metroidvania. But I when I sat down and downloaded Unity and said, yeah, everything is just cause and effect. If this, then that. I can learn this. I started trying to learn Unity. I'm like, how do I build assets? Oh, I can't build them in here. I have to build them elsewhere and import them. So then I downloaded Blender, and me, the guy who can't even figure out how to use PC Paint, tried to teach myself how to use Blender. Yeah, and while I was doing all that, I was also writing out the storyline to the game. And I handed that over to some friends, said, hey, what do you think of this as a story for the game? And they said, it's pretty cool. When's the book coming out? I said, no, it's not going to be a book. I don't want to write a book. But the more I went on, I'm trying to figure out how to build a character mesh just to put in Unity. And after about 6 months of banging my head against the keyboard and come up with nothing, finally said, well, I guess it's going to be a book, because now I had the story in my head and I had to get it out. And so I had to go through, and how do I make a game mechanic that would work perfectly fine in a video game, make narrative sense? So actually writing the book made the potential, if I ever get to make the game, better.
100%. And it's hard to write younger characters, especially as POV characters, and I think you did a really good job on that, too.
Well, thank you.
It's a very hard thing.
I put my immaturity to good use.
It's like, can I imagine myself as a 12-year-old? I'm already there. No.
I will say there's a fella online gave it a pretty good review. His name's Billy Bubsack. I don't know if you know that name, but he pretty good review on the Amazon. Yeah,
Billy's booby sack.
Billy Bubsack. Yeah.
The nice thing about writing for kids, though, they can get away with saying things that are funny without, if they were adult, they would just sound dumb. But as a kid, it could sound smart and snappy.
Oh yeah. One of my favorite things, writing spirit animals, which also has like a younger protagonist, is you can describe things as stupid. You're like, he wasn't acting as stupid, but blah blah blah, whatever.
I just find writing kids way too difficult.
I love
stay
it.
Away from it.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
I
It's like,
picture.
Battsauce, you should stay away from kids. I agree.
Yeah, dude.
My writing for kids is nearly at an end because they're only kids in the first 2 books. But
That's true.
Them in the 3rd book, they're adults.
Yeah, is there a big time, without spoilers? Is there a time jump between book 1 and book 2?
No. Book 2 will pick up in chapter 1. Book 2 will pick up pretty much right where the first one left off.
Okay. So I'm not quite there yet. So I should be able to find out here soon. Justin, I just read your tagline, bro. Holy crap. Anyway.
Oh, whatever. Oh yeah.
What's the tagline here?
This will not be quick.
Will not
enjoy. Pretty much, man. But yeah, any advice for writing younger characters, or is it just something you were just kind of working by instinct to do, Wrangler?
I don't know. I mean, because I guess by instinct, really. I never tried to write kids before. I've tried to write a few things in the past, years and years ago, and then nothing for like a couple of decades at least, until I sat down to try to do this project, and it just turned into something more than I expected.
Oh,
I still hope to
100%.
make it a video game one day. I want to play this thing, you know.
Yeah,
you're
no,
obviously
it sounds cool, man.
very big Metroid fan, so I kind of looks like from the cover, like that's the influence for her like wrist
She has
blaster thing.
she has a potato gun. Yeah.
Sort of. Also, part of the inspiration for her arm-mounted potato gun, believe it or not, was Megatron.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I could
The
see
scope,
I
the
just-
scope that's gun.
Yeah.
that. I always like old movies where it's like a machine gun pistol with a scope. I'm like, yeah.
No, I'm not a Metroid fan
Very
at all.
Not
Physical
even.
copies rock, folks. Get physical copies.
Yo.
Nice.
And by the way, speaking of Metroid-inspired games and stuff, or even books like Post of Lance from T.J. Marquis, that was a video game he had in mind. But Metroid-inspired games like Hollow Knight
Hollow Knight.
Oh,
I've been
man.
told I need to
Leave
play
me-
it. It looks cool.
leaves me
It's hard.
with one big question: where's Silk Song already? It's supposed to be out 3 years ago. Where is it?
I was gonna make a joke, but I refrained. But yeah, CG.
I was gonna make a Fallout joke, but I don't have enough charisma.
Ah.
Hey.
Hey. This guy.
This guy over here. Get back.
If you keep doing that, something you do not want is going to happen to you with 100% certainty.
It's so
will
serious and so aggressive.
Too long, and that's why I love it. It's like I was
Dude, I love it too.
He's so passionate and serious when he's saying that. Too.
You know what he's talking about? He's talking about
Lobsters?
disciplining your little baby kid. He's
Oh,
like,
100%.
That's
pretty great.
That makes it
If
funny.
you'll listen to me, you'll go to Romania and you'll visit Andrew Tate. Oh wait,
yeah,
that's just his kid. Sorry.
no, he's
Well,
talking about his
Lake's-
son, not his daughter.
Links for Wrangler's
I-
book is in the chat right now. Check it out.
Hell
Check
yeah,
it out.
boy.
Yeah, I am currently reading it. I haven't had time to really read it, but I will get to it and I'll do a review. A bad faith.
He's
review.
currently
My
thinking
very-
about reading it.
my very famous bad faith reviews. I will do one.
Oh, actually, you do a review. Please rip it apart. The more it gets ripped apart, the more things I have that I know I can work on and improve.
Yeah.
Just know that it's going to be a smear job from a place of bad
Yeah.
faith.
Clearly.
And you might need
Exactly.
to debate somebody on someone else's channel who doesn't
You'll be
like
canceled.
Well,
I'm
I'm thinking.
okay if somebody doesn't like it and they nitpick the heck out of it because that's going to point out things to me that can make me better.
Thank you. That's
I might not like
that
what
is-
I hear, but it will be useful.
Exactly. That's
I think
good
it's an
thing about
admirable stance to take. As someone who doesn't make mistakes, I don't really know what that's like.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what that is.
Oh, well, let me tell you, it sucks.
yeah.
Let me tell you.
I think I'm going to do my next one of the style reviews on John A. Douglas's book. Because I already did
Oh.
an actual review on him, but like I mean I told him he DM'd me, I talked to him, but like there's an issue
We
I
could
had
talk
with that
about
book.
that too because I've read and I enjoy that book, so we could always
Yeah.
talk about that too.
I
By the
own that.
way-
Well, we can talk about that when I do my review.
By the way,
I'll reference it.
King Bob asked, "Wait, my review's not on there? Are you talking about mine, King Bob? Because I don't think you ever posted an Amazon review. There is one on there.
You-
There is a
Comments-
review on his website.
McCobbin's
But I
been
don't
talking
think
about
it's
the
on
reviews,
Amazon.
like just
Oh, yeah,
with Amazon not working well, and I guess they take like 5 days to like process as
Yes.
well.
Yep.
So
And if you go back to your review and it's still there, and you're like, "What happened?" And you press submit again, it restarts that whole clock. It's the kind of thing that you just gotta let it ride.
So apparently it's a pain.
I think isn't that some kind of casino term? Let it ride.
He said he did a long time ago. I don't know, man. Bob tried
Yeah,
again.
it never popped on Amazon. I never saw one from you on Amazon. I only ever saw
I
them-
put reviews everywhere, but I don't put them like the same review everywhere. So I just have scattered reviews on different websites.
My
I've
suggestion.
noticed when I post a review on Amazon, it could take 2 to 4 days for it to even show up.
It's ridiculous. I think like as shitty as it is, because you shouldn't have to do this, but Amazon is a mega like corporation that kind of controls the entire the audience essentially.
A huge
But-
portion of the buying market as well.
Yeah, just I would like if you make if you do a review, just talk to the person whose book it is and try to make sure it gets posted some days later.
Also, Battsauce, this is your fault, so you have to answer the question. So, Seabats called Justin a size queen, and Justin doesn't know what that means, and he asked. So you have to explain it.
You don't know what a size queen is?
No.
You don't like them thick and juicy?
Like if they're if things are under a certain size, it's not desirable. You want the biggest available.
Yeah.
With that
Queen sounds like reasonable though. Are you talking like this?
No. You're. Oh my god. Oh.
Explain it. I told you this would happen.
When Justin has his boomer moments, I lose it. Oh my god.
I love it.
You
Wrangler,
are
you know
the
what it
queen
means, right?
that is obsessed with size.
And the queen gets what she wants.
Remember those beef frank commercials where the guy was standing over the grill going, "Girthy."
Yeah.
No. See, Wrangler gets it. Oh, Justin, you sweet summer child. I don't know how to explain it any better.
I do know all the queens.
Wait.
I have the perfect.
Is that what you're saying?
So Justin, a size queen would look at both of these, and she would want this one.
A chicken?
Oh my fucking god, guys! I shit you not. I had to break down basic what a retweet is and what a quote tweet is.
Oh yeah,
with Justin for like a fucking hour. I was so close to losing it.
No, but you got there and you explained it in a way that I was like, oh, okay, you should have started with that.
She likes her dicks bigger.
Wait, and you're calling
what
me
the hell happened here?
Yes. What do you mean? How do you not understand this?
Yeah, I'm not I guess I'm not a queen at all. So
you bet your sweet Bippy I did.
Bro, can we, Baz, don't make this a clip. I'll do a short about this because this is.
Seabats gave an awesome
Gold,
definition,
dude. Okay, let me.
When would I ever
I already have Wikipedia definitions up. I'll look it up.
I come home, I garden, I make dinner, I go to bed. When would I stumble into this term?
It's not to. We're using the word in context of the sentence. Anyways, let's.
Rohirrim.
Oh wait. We are going to be talking about that new trailer that came out for Lord of the Rings, the anime, War of the Rohirrim. So we're not going to play any of the trailer because it's going to get copyrighted like fucking crazy because Warner Brothers does that.
Oh
yeah, so you think it's terrible?
We don't.
Okay,
yeah, we don't.
Let's go around. What are initial impressions of the trailer? Kahuna, let's start with you.
It's shit.
It's shit.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I wasn't sure I was going to fare on this one.
Okay. What about you, AC? Did you think it was shit, or you're like, because I've seen a lot of people on Twitter. They're like, it's kind of cool. I like this. I dig it.
So, those are the same people who thought Rings of Power were good.
Thirsty. No, not the
real
same.
Thirsty. Real thirsty.
When it first got my attention, I was like, interesting, and then I looked at it, and the initial whispers were like, oh, it follows this character that Tolkien didn't even give a name to, which, if you know anything about Tolkien, is he writes everything pretty deliberately. So right then I was like, oh, okay, I'm writing it off. Then this trailer resurfaced, and they were promoting it like, oh, Peter Jackson, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll give it another shot. And I was looking at the trailer, and it's actually crazy. We can get into it a little bit when we start talking about it, but
yeah, if you want to pull up images.
Overall, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, Wrangler, how did you feel about the War of Rohirrim trailer? Did you watch it?
AC, you're a great dad. Great dad.
The trailer itself could have been arranged better. It looks like it could be good or it could go bad. I can't really tell. I was just kind of numb about it.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, for me, I think it's like it doesn't help too much to talk about the girl boss aspect of it because it is very much reading girl boss all over it. And that's where most people are going to hit it on. And that's true. That is a valid criticism to have of that trailer and that the story they're going to go off of. But something can be a cringy girl boss movie and still be entertaining.
But
for me, one of the biggest problems I had with it was like that did not look like movie animation. That looked
it looked like
TV show animation.
CG.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
It looked like bad Japan 3D animation is what it looked like. It reminded me of. I was not impressed.
So
I'm like,
Yeah, the
this has to
face-
have a huge budget. Why is it ugly? It should not
The
be
face of the main character chick just looked like a anime filter,
yeah.
right?
ugly. Pretty much, man.
yeah.
It was
What? Tell us, Justin. What are you laughing at? What's the chat saying? What's the chat saying about me?
Oh, with that one? Oh no,
No,
never
just-
said
just
anything about
check.
you. It's from the previous clip. That'll not the context won't carry over.
It's fine.
We're talking about different types of queens.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's a dancing
Like
queen.
I was making the point that the queen that you referenced in the other clip, at least that sounds better than being a Leonidas queen.
Your wife
Oh,
is
true. Yeah,
unhinged, bro.
Great.
I said
Oh.
if you give him an award, I would, they'd earn.
So
All right, yeah, War of the Rohirrim. Yeah,
in their words, they could feel the weight of the unnamed character, and they felt like Tolkien overlooked something.
Oh no,
So, almost as if the story
no.
of the story of the Lord of the Rings just always existed, and Tolkien made a mistake and overlooked something that they can fix. So they decided to name this character, expand on her, make her the main character, and then surround this character with a bunch of really dope shit that actually happened. And characters that we
exactly.
want to see.
You guys remember when the people making Rings of Power self-reported and are like, we've always disliked how Tolkien made orcs as an allegory for blacks. I'm like, whoa,
never liked that.
wait a second.
that is something that goes around the,
It's
the
freaking
left
insane.
wing. Yeah, but it's not just them. Like Ready Player 2. It's like something with
They're
like.
just obsessed with ethnicity.
Well, I think like BlackRock or somebody is like specifically targeting Tolkien because of the monster that he is, and they're like, we have to frame this guy as a racist because like literally most of like a huge portion of Ready Player 2 was literally framing Tolkien as a racist and that the whole orcs were black, which is like not true. The orcs were based off of Mongolians. Get your racism correct.
I mean,
If
actually,
I may
I didn't think about that, but you're absolutely right with the Mongolian.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah, I'm not saying that's
all
why.
I can think of South Park. That's all I
I'm
can
not a
think.
fan of that term because I think it's inaccurate.
Yeah,
It's-
Wrangler has a good point about this. Actually, go ahead.
Yeah, because racist against who? Show me a second race on this planet. You can't. You can show me different ethnicities of that race, but not that race. So calling us all different races places a wider divide in our minds than what really exists.
Get him, Wrangler.
Yep. No, he's absolutely right about that, and I never heard it said until you and I talked about it, and you're absolutely right. There we're not like just because one guy's ancestors are from Africa and mine are definitely not. We're not a different race. We're all part of the human race. It's,
So
even
to
the
be
word
fair,
itself is.
If you're ethnist, then when the aliens show up, you'll probably be racist too. Okay, I will fully admit that. But as so far, we have not had the opportunity to be racist.
where this deep-seated fear of like an other race comes from
other.
that represents itself in human stories throughout history is actually our very real conflict with the Neanderthals,
Which I still think are
willingly
just
or
another
not,
breed of human. In
that
fact,
works.
they didn't die out. They,
All right, yeah, we're doing apples and oranges with our terminology here, right?
You mean like
it's still
potatoes and oranges? That phrase always bothered me. Apples and oranges.
Hey, don't take the potatoes from us too. We work hard for them potatoes.
the potatoes and tomatoes.
race
Oh, wait, they're both
ancestry, like
nightshades.
it's whatever. But yeah, I mean, like even so, with the trailer that we had there, like the action, like again, like there was nothing impressive by any of the action. The elephant that came stomping in, that looked pretty bad.
Especially,
Like,
and
you
they
remember
slip
the- or
on they'll slip
elephant.
on the elephant. They'll slip on the blood and fall off the cliff too, as we learned.
Which means if the action and the animation is not on point, then you have to deliver some canon stuff that we just deliver us Silmarillion on screen, even if it's bad animation, because if it's an anime style, maybe it'll be cool. But then you got to go and expand frickin' this character that's not even named because of what, your ego?
In fairness,
Can-
there's,
well, can-
there's
can-
a
can we-
balance
can-
though, because if you go back and watch the original Lord of the Rings from Wrangler, you might know this. Do you remember the original animated
The Rankin Bass.
I remember I had them. My grandparents had them on Laserdisc.
Oh,
I
yeah.
watched them growing
Yeah,
up.
and there's parts where they couldn't animate it, and it was all rotoscoped anyways. Like live action.
I liked the
weird.
Hobbit when they would like hit goblins and they can't show death because it's a kids cartoon, so it would just like vibe off screen.
I haven't watched that one yet, but this was it was wild, and so it's the kind of thing. Even if you have a great story, there's something about the quality of the animation. It has to be there, even if you got a great story. And it's
I don't know. Those movies still like. I mean, yeah, the animation's bad, but like, dude,
No.
it's all about the story. Like, it's
Not
the
that one. It was just
Lord of
bad,
the Rings
dude.
books are. Yeah, they're bad, but it's still
That movie's
it's.
bad.
Frankly,
but
the
here-
soundtrack from the old animated Hobbit is better than the Lord of the Rings movies. The greatest adventures.
I love that show. Well, it hits me with some
It's
nostalgia,
also
but
the inspiration for the Lemmingwink song.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
but Lord of the Rings
You're right.
is not famous for its action in the books. It's famous for the story.
It's just good. Yeah.
And not only that, like, dude, just the anime style for Lord of the Rings just feels icky,
Yeah.
right? Like,
In
it's
the
just like
next- in the next
use
season
the
of
right
Rings
word.
of Power, Sauron leads the orcs in a musical number singing "Where there's a whip, there's a way."
You know what? You give Hollywood types another 10 or 15 years, and it will be a horrible musical.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
man.
people will give it awards, and people will like it, and the children will weep.
Well,
will weep.
and then from
Yeah.
from
Gnashing of teeth.
Can we talk about something very specific here in regards to
What?
this?
I guess so.
People,
Go on.
if done in good faith by talented people, people do not mind on expansion to lore and story. Look in the original Lord of the Rings movies. That scene, remember the staircase scene, that entire scene. You know how this is described in the book? They went down the stairs. That's that scene in the book. That awesome scene where they've had to shoot at orcs and the stairs are falling apart and they had to be thrown and jump. That and even like
it's
love
not really
story
an
between
expansion in lore, though.
but it
It's
showed
a good way to do it.
That's a good even look at Arwen and Aragorn.
Well, there's
They're
changes of lore.
They're barely talked about in the books.
Yeah.
Barely.
Well,
And that's
a
a
good
great
example
part of those movies.
They're
a good
expanding
example would
respectfully.
be the what was her name? Arwen or not? Fuck the
Talking
lady.
about Eowyn? No, that's
The lady.
Arwen.
Arwen. Like her character on the horse in the Fellowship of the Ring. That was a completely different guy.
Yeah, that was Gilgalad, right?
No,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was
Gilgalad's
Gilgalad.
Gilgalad's a different character, I think.
I don't think so.
I don't remember. That's the only time he's ever mentioned though in the story. And so that was a change that was actually good. For the most part, people accepted it. So it is
Glorfindel.
possible. Glorfindel or something like that.
It's possible. Yeah, it is.
But it is possible. But at the same time, it's what was I gonna
Glorfindel,
say?
that's his name.
That's what I said, Glorfindel.
Oh, I missed it. Anyway.
Yeah.
I have a good example here,
Glorfindel.
Bats.
Guys, it was
It's like what Kahuna said about the staircase. Let's compare the staircase to the this protagonist Hera, right? So the staircase, he said in the source material, you know what that line was? They went down the stairs. And what did Peter Jackson, right? What did he do? He took the
Expanded.
vibe that was already established up until that point and just filled in the blanks with what made sense respectfully using
He
the vibe.
added drama and story and compelling action and storytelling without disrespecting the lore whatsoever. That's how you expand on a story.
Yes, this new Hera character, yes, Kahuna, 100%. And this new Hera character has the exact same amount of source material as that staircase. It said Helm Hammerhand had a daughter.
That's
That's
it.
it.
Yeah.
They
Well, so-
didn't
and
even-
then-
It doesn't
didn't even
mention
say
that
her
she
name.
was a whore.
So
Well, there's just
what's their response is to just like invent a bunch of stuff specifically around her because Tolkien purposely didn't name her because she didn't do anything. Like there's plenty of other. I believe at the same time there's a female protagonist that literally helps her people survive a siege from orcs. Okay, there's your strong woman. There's plenty strong women in the Tolkien stories.
It's like the hubris for like
Yeah.
the typical thing of them trying to make a better story than Tolkien did. But like let's be honest here a little bit, where it's like if this is like cringe to us, but like there's some decent aspects of it, the general audience is going to like it.
Yeah,
It,
the
like,
general audience
ge-
doesn't.
But like the general audience liked Obi-Wan Kenobi.
but not
the
Rings
show.
of Power.
Obi-Wan.
That show was terrible.
That
But
show
whenever
was
I talk to
bad.
anyone, when I talk to most people about it, they're like, "Well, you didn't like Disney's
Wait,
terrible." But what about Obi-Wan?
Was Obi-Wan Kenobi an anime?
No.
That was
It's a
live action.
Disney
Yeah.
Plus show. Yeah.
Because
Right.
see,
Okay.
it's that fucking
That's really
forgettable.
important.
But what I'm saying is the general audience doesn't really care about
they
stuff
won't.
that they probably should care about, like disrespecting lore and everything like that.
Oh, the
That
Last Jedi.
actually-
The Last Jedi
Yeah.
is my sister's
That's the point I'm
favorite
trying to
Star
make.
Wars
That's a
movie.
second bridge to cross after the fact that it's anime. I think it's going to be a major hurdle to begin with, and the story's going to be like, wait, hang on.
Well,
And it's-
because no, Justin, these people have tried to make their own anime too, like even their own original story, and they've flopped every single
course.
time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Accolade.
attach it to a known brand name, and then hey, we have something here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
And
exactly
like-
how they
Problem
sound
is-
too.
You bring up a good point. A lot of general audiences might not be familiar with the source material. As an example, I watched M. Night Shyamalan and Ding Dong's The Last Airbender. I thought, "Hey, that's pretty good. Why is everybody
What?
complaining about it?"
You thought
And
that
then I
was
went back
Let
and
him.
watched
Let
the
him cook.
original show, and then I was like, "Oh, now I get it.
Yeah,
Now I understand."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Dude,
just
no, that's
disrespectful.
bad either way, though.
They mispronounced Avatar.
Oh,
The
yeah.
word
Pronounced Ong.
Ong.
But that's a different topic for a different
He literally says his
day.
own name in the show, by the way.
I'm gonna
I
start
know.
screaming with a red light. We can't talk about Avatar.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
but I was
More
so
just-
the things forget about that. Then what is the trailer itself? Let's forget it's even a Lord of the Rings content, right? It's like, what does the trailer show us anything? And so you got the king or this the girl that knows this kid who's now there's an engagement being proposed, which but apparently she doesn't love him or something like that, and which is dude, back in the day, all marriages were just arrangements for
Right.
rights of land and stuff like that. And
Really
so
quick, I'm gonna add just very quickly that they claim that they're gonna explain why she wasn't named, but continue. So yeah, they're gonna fix
Yeah,
Tolkien.
sure,
Continue. Yeah.
But yeah, and then so next thing you know, they're flashing a scene of that guy's father, who's probably king of something, and then the king of Rohan just beating the shit out of their guest and killing him. And I'm like, because he disrespected him. I'm like, whoa, that's a little intense, dude.
One
wait,
shot them.
yeah, you can't be killing your fucking royal guest just because they.
It starts a war.
They gave a wedding, a marriage proposal for land or money or something or gains. Like, whoa, that's so great. Who would ever do that?
I think they have a duel. I don't know the exact lore, but I think they have a duel, and he one shots him.
You know
and
what
it's
also
not
pisses.
exactly-
Sorry. You know
Anyway,
what also
yeah.
pisses me off? They in the beginning they're using the maps and the live action footage from the movies to try to
Yeah.
make us feel. I'm like, don't
Nostalgia
do
bait.
that. It's not. I'm not falling for it again. Not after all the other crap you've been pulling.
That's
Well,
why
there's
I felt bad for Peter Jackson.
There's a line in it though, what was the dual challenge about, right? But there's some line in there being like, "Are you really gonna fight me?" or something like that. So it wasn't like something like he challenged the king of Rohan for a duel or something like that. It seems like he was forced into it to defend himself because the king of Rohan felt disrespected. But I'm like, this is a guest, and he made a very simple request that was very expected for the time. So I'm just pointing this out because there's very much hints of oh, this is gonna be ass, isn't it? This is gonna be complete ass.
Well, and all of that you could sell us on because that's kind of what happened. Hammerhand, I believe, did one shot the guy and it started a war and all this. But I'm just going to add a few more facts here. I'm looking at facts behind the screen wall. I'm assuming I think that's you got the trailer pulled up, right? So
I'm not playing the trailer.
Right, you got it pulled up.
It is a trailer. It should.
I do not have pulled up. But.
Oh, gotcha. Well, a couple more facts here. She's the fastest rider in Rohan. She can communicate with great
From the
eagles.
trailer. Yeah.
For some reason.
Oh yeah. Which only really Gandalf did because there's a whole story behind that. He saved
Gandalf's
the
an
eagle.
angel.
That's why he's able to do that.
He's an angel. It doesn't matter.
He's also an angel.
Yeah, he can do.
He also talks to moths. I don't know how that translates to eagles, but
So she can communicate with great eagles, and she's the fastest rider in all of Rohan, apparently. Yeah. And she would rather go off to war instead of help the other women and young girls and stuff of Rohan.
But a bit of a Mary Sue, huh?
There, because I know what the Spartans would do with her.
Hold on.
Hey, we have some mutated perverts up on a cliff. Can we just give her to the
Base.
Oh, cripes, dude. Turns out it's like they have the general of the orc army. The time of women is over.
They claim she was
crap.
central to the conflict, which again, I
not
basically
true.
verbatim told you all of the lore behind this character, and they claim she's central to the conflict.
Also, like,
Yeah,
how
so
about
they're
this?
Mary
Like,
Sue.
because this character sounds like a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
But
They explain it because she's royalty.
if you explained Eowyn as a character on paper, made in a modern time, I would think she sounds like a Mary Sue.
Eowyn?
But
She
Eowyn,
can't really cook.
she has she has
established?
weakness. Yeah, no. But if you explained her on paper and I didn't see it and it was being made now, I would assume she was a Mary Sue.
No, like Eowyn was not really like.
I'm not
good
saying she
writer.
was. Listen,
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean,
hypothetically. Thank you.
Yeah.
She was only able to get a hit off on the guy because of Mary was stabbed him.
Yeah,
And-
with a magic dagger.
Precious
It was a
blade.
magic Morgul blade, I believe, or something.
Yeah.
She broke through that glass ceiling.
How dare you?
Big. She
I'm gonna
killed
add
the
another
black
fact. Yeah,
rider.
the Black Rider. I'm gonna add another fact
Racist.
here. I'm gonna add another fact here because she would lay down her life for her people. Comparing her to Arwen and Eowyn, they're already fully formed women. So what they love about her, in comparison to Arwen and Eowyn, is this new character is fierce and complex and rebellious. Comparing her to those other two major women from Lord of the Rings, this one is actually fierce and actually complex and actually rebellious.
Well, think about it. Those characters, Arwen and Eowyn, they do rebel against the authority
Yes.
of men in charge. But you know why they rebel? They rebel for moral reasons, for
Yes.
right, for reasons that have ethical reasons. They have they don't just do it on a whim because I stand up to authority. That standing up to authority in and of itself is not a virtue. Doing it for the right reasons, that can be a virtue. It's why we don't hate the characters from Harry Potter, because they break every rule under the sun for the entire series.
And you'd think
Yeah.
that they would get super experienced people behind this, right? No, what we get is the writer from the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, which got
Oh,
canceled after
no
one season.
wonder!
One season. That's basically the most notable thing he's done. I think he's done like 6 things at most. None of them you've heard of. All the actors are basically in the same boat. The animation studio, even, I think it's just kind of like, I've never heard of it. Wouldn't they be saying things like from the studio that brought you Attack on Titan or whatever? From the studio that brought you.
It looks like trash
if all these writers and actors are in the same boat, I hope it's the Titanic.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had it in my head. Go ahead, we're good.
Yeah, I don't know. Like there is this like modern story that they keep trying to tell over and over again about the princess that's about to be forced into marriage, but she refuses, and it's looked as the noble thing that she refuses to do the marriage and try to, seek out a marriage for love, and it's like, guys, back then. You guys didn't marry for love. That wasn't a thing. Like,
If you
stop
fell in
it.
love, if you fell in love afterwards, or maybe even beforehand, that's great. But
And it's been done really bad in some stories. I think there was one that came out with what is that chick from Stranger Things? Yeah, and it
That
was like,
that movie with the dread. Yeah, that was.
yeah, it was literally like she was supposed to get married for food for her land or something like that. It's like okay, so you're gonna marry the person you probably don't want to marry, but your people get food. It's like, yeah, that's sacrifices that they used to have to make all the time back then. You know what I mean?
And incense, the reason incense is considered a good sacrifice, just on a separate thought, I was reading the chat. I'm not sure. If
Oh,
this
that makes
ties into
sense.
Incense was expensive, so like it's a stand-in for monetary wealth, because you had to like historically import it from like the Far East or something. It had this immense value attached to it, and all you do is burn it or like have it around for smell or whatever. So yeah, burning that is considered like burning gold or like burning your money, like offering that as a sacrifice. I don't know if that's what you were talking about. I heard sacrifice. I was reading the chat. Sorry.
I was just mentioning that like typically that people when I had to marry somebody that they don't want to marry as
Yeah.
like it's really a sacrifice, but it's like a sacrifice. Like,
Well,
you gotta
it-
marry somebody you don't
yeah,
want.
I've
But
been thinking
in turn, your people that you're, supposed to be like helping out in a way because you're their royalty, like they get something in a trade that's going to benefit them. So it's like a little bit of a selfless act in a sense, even though it's never really that case. They get like money or something like that.
It's also like I think it comes partially down to expectations and being able to drop yourself mentally into another world, which is what fantasy is all about. Because like I thought about this recently. I was watching someone react to a portion of the House of the Dragon, and I was gathering some research material in that way. And some of the people watching it are like, "Oh, look at how immoral these people are," and I'm like, yeah, but you're not really doing any mental work to imagine a different time and a different place where
Exactly.
things, standards, morality, expectations are wildly different. Like in a story like Lord of the Rings and most other fantasy stories. They're based on a different set of ideals where different things are valued for a very different reason. And some people don't go into those stories with that. They don't understand that they have to mentally put themselves not in the modern time with their modern morality. It's a very weird thing people do.
They apply modern morality to it. Yeah.
Any closing thoughts on the trailer? It's probably gonna be poo poo.
Well, I went over a lot of the stuff that, like, the quotes are what kind of like if I just left it on its face with telling you what they did, right, and then threw Peter Jackson's name on it, that's one thing. But then I really needed to explain to chat and everybody listening, like, these direct quotes that they're saying, like, they literally think they can fix Tolkien. They purposely zoomed in on a character that had next to nothing written about her just to self-insert and write their own story within it, to expand on that idea of trying to fix Tolkien or whatever. And they're going to pepper it. They're going to surround it with all kinds of, like, actual real cool canon stuff, like Hammerhand one-shotting the guy. Like, okay, that's cool. But then you got the shitty animation studio, which I'm assuming is just willing to play ball. I'm kind of getting into like speculation at that point. But, why aren't there like masters behind this? You got Peter Jackson's name on it. Where's his like stubborn insistence that he used to have?
Also, if you're going to make an animated Lord of the Rings story, why would you do something that would look better in live action? If you're going to do an animated Lord of the Rings story, show the angelic war between the Balrogs and dragons, and Ungoliant, the world-eating spider. Why would you not do something cool if you're going to make an animated Lord of the Rings story?
Why would you do the very human story and make that anime?
You know, I was thinking, probably there's a bunch of animation studios that did get this like project, and since it's Japan, they're probably like, yeah, we're not doing that. Because like they are big on like not clashing cultural ideas, so like they might see it the same way that I see it and being like, no, this is not like, we're not going to do it in a Japanese animation for Lord of the Rings.
They should have did it Western
thing.
For sure.
Yeah, it needs to be in a Western style animation
just to honor Tolkien. Peter Jackson, where you at?
Exactly, because they will do that. Like tattoo artists over there, they will deny people tattoos all the time. I remember some guy, he went to get like a Japanese woman in the like traditional outfit, a geisha with like a Mexican mask, and the tattoo artist said, "I'm not doing that because it's clashing cultures."
Japan's up there. He's like, you have bad taste, absolutely.
Oh yeah, they will, yeah. I mean, that one was like an obvious one that would get like discarded, but they will discard things for that all the time if they feel like it's not something that they'll do.
How about an American Eagle with an American colored headband, like bending over?
Oh, they would love
a Japanese flag. Yeah.
No, if they're gonna do something American, they're gonna American the fuck out of it.
I'm gonna drop a little boy on you,
America.
Or like
all right. Any other
a British animation studio would have been cool too.
Yeah.
No, because they're not very good at it. Anyway, moving on. Okay.
Tolkien.
But any other thoughts on the topic?
Overall disappointment that it isn't a bad dream and it actually is real.
Yeah.
I hope people. I hope people hold Jackson's feet to the embers a little bit so that he can just kind of feel what he's stepping into here by allowing people to run away with his name, because we're talking about a man who's known for sculpting the music of the original Lord of the Rings movies so that it just sounded more like Catholic music, because he knew that Tolkien was a devout Catholic. So to set the mood, what's a better tone than to just lean into the man? Like, this is probably kind of like what he's into, you know what I mean? And it conveys a fantasy vibe. Like, nobody even blinked an eye at that because it fit so well, you know?
And he was
like,
doing
where
work
is
on a
that?
different time.
I think I remember hearing an interview with him where he said that he looked at it as if he was making this movie for Tolkien. Like he wanted to be this. He wanted to make something that if Tolkien were around, he could present it to him and it would appeal to him.
And I think the studio heads were a lot more willing to do that. They're not anymore, and that's probably why we're going to
now.
get a
Is
Peter
he
Jackson
directly
that's
involved
willing
with
to-
this project or no?
I think his name is just on it, bro. With how many changes there are, that's why I'm kind of like still not.
Well,
like,
originally
fully
he
playing
was
it.
he was originally attached to Rings of Power too. Before he's just like, oh, they're not going to listen.
They didn't
to me
call
at
him.
all.
Yeah, they never
Yeah,
called
they
him.
didn't call him. Which I will say,
But, I'm
this
going to
will be-
hope that it's actually good. There is a chance that could happen. I'm not
With
going
just-
to hold my breath, but
I'm like, that's a 4%
I would love to come on here
chance.
one day and tell you guys, hey, surprise, surprise, it was
The
good.
opposite of a size.
but
queen.
I will say it's going to be better than Rings of Power.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It has to be, right?
Even
It's like
if-
remember a while back we on a stream we watched the trailer. We watched the trailer for Rings of Power and then for House of the Dragon back to back. Watching those trailers back, like Rings of Power, or House of the Dragon has problems, especially season 2, but it is a vastly better show than anything Rings of Power could ever be.
Absolutely.
And even in the trailer, it was so abundantly clear that that was the case.
It drank its milkshake. It was great.
All right, guys, closing thoughts. It's that time. Again, we don't make it to the third topic, which I really wanted to talk about historic battles.
We
especially
kinda-
I
with
didn't even know
300
that was
being
a
the
topic.
We talked about Thermopylae. We kind of went into that a lot.
We already talked
Yeah,
about
but
300, a
there's-
real historical account.
There's so much more to go into with that.
You're right.
Like just like yeah, there's
We'll
so
bring
many
it
battles
back.
that could be done. But we're out of time though. It's late. Kahuna, closing thoughts.
Great show. Some of us are straight and enjoy the movie 300. But no, seriously, I love coming on here. I love coming on here with you.
That's kind of gay.
I was trying to be
You
sweet.
like coming
you
on
son
here?
of a bitch.
You like coming on here?
Yeah.
Dave.
So hard. Anyway, frankly, we have the best fluids on this show.
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoy having good. And Wrangler, you're a great guy. I've been on your show many times. Good friends. I love having people like you on this show. I love this show, the kind of vibe we get, because we talk about some serious topics, but with a very non-seriously confrontational air, it's just a lot of fun. And I hope the audience enjoys that kind of thing too.
Yeah.
And it gives me an excuse to talk about things that I like to talk about and that most people in my personal life would not be interested in having a real conversation about. And so I really appreciate you guys, and I really appreciate this show. And those are my closing thoughts. You know, just a little homophobic.
Well, I need to admit something. I think 300 floats. I just want to be contrarian.
Yeah.
I know it.
I think the action just like slightly bumps it up, but look, I want to have fun. I want to like fight you fuckers. So.
Yeah, I had my guard up. And then like after that initial criticism, you gave it like 4 positive things. I'm like, what's he doing here? He's like setting up.
I want more to sink to the iron seas. Damn it!
He could sniff you out. He knew you just wanted to debate someone.
Yeah, I've met you in person. I could smell it.
Hey, true
That's the
bad
scent of a
faith
liar.
debate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what a bad faith debate looks like.
Heavily, closing remarks.
I make music under the name Evely, and me and Chill could have a new song, a dual single out there. So if you haven't put your ears onto it yet, you can check that out. It's a
That Save You?
Yeah. He wrote a song called Anti-Hero, and he gave it to me. I was like, what if I just like chop it apart and rebuild the thing from the ground up, kind of like a demake. I did my own interpretation of it, so that's out there.
I thought you guys recorded it together. Like I thought you guys were doing a duet.
No. We talked about. I mean, there was behind the scenes there was a lot that went into
Crazy
it.
ideas,
A lot of ideas. Yeah, a lot of things are bandied about. And anyways, with the product that's out there, you can check it out on all streaming services. It's there for you. Something else I want to talk about. I do Iron Age nights on Friday nights, IAK as it were. But there was something else. And I don't remember what it was. So I'll leave it at that. Hail the chat. Thank you guys so much for showing up. And thank you, Wrangler, for being here. Awesome talking to you. And thank you for being on the seas.
This was a blast. I appreciate you guys having me on.
100%, man. Also, real quick, Herman brought up that Kahuna wants to talk about nipples. Herman, if you had gone to the barbecue, you would know I don't talk about nipples. I display them.
Fact. This is true.
AC, closing thoughts.
So, you can check out my band at Empty My Lungs on everything. Facebook, YouTube, X, everything. The whole album's, like I said earlier, the whole album's up there on YouTube now. Each one is a lyric video. We're releasing live videos this week.
Nice.
Follow me on X, A_C_Pritchard, acpritchard.substack.com for free stuff. Pritchardpub.substack.com for my other podcast, which I co-host with my wife. Fundmycomic.com/ASOS for my graphic novel campaign, and Amazon.com/author/AC Pritchard for my book. And I want to just, the last thing I want to say is I completely second what Kahuna said. I look forward to, these nights when I can like co-host with my wife or like chill with the boys. It becomes like the highlight of my week, just being able to talk unfiltered with you guys. And thank you, Wrangler, for coming on. Long overdue. And this is our 22nd episode, guys. So
Wow.
Time flies.
Catch 22. Yeah?
We're famous. We did it.
Yeah, 22.
Famous.
We did it.
All right.
how it
To
goes.
our honored guest, Wrangler, do you have any closing comments?
Yeah, thank you again, guys, for having me on. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate you letting me get in on these conversations. And you can find my stuff on Amazon, Haley Star Bad Kitty, and the follow-up Bad Kitty Haley's World. Available pretty much anywhere you can get books. Also, you can check out my Substack, Frequency Studios, and also my YouTube channel, which is called Wrangler. If you just type in Wrangler, you won't find it. You'll find a bunch of Jeep stuff. So
Yeah, you will.
Use at Wrangler212 to find me, and then filter for channel search, and I'll pop right up.
All right. All
Yeah,
right.
no, man.
Again, thanks for coming. Not in a gay way, but
The best fluids.
yeah.
Yeah,
Tomorrow
well said.
I got my weekly show. I got a bunch of indie reviews on my channel. Again, 11 a.m. I'm stop talking about the same guy I was talking about last week. That guy's a fucking loser. Yeah, like that is the drama show. I'm never going to say. I'm never gonna say I'm a drama free guy, but this is a drama free show. This one, but that and after that, I'll be releasing my Gooding review. So stay tuned.
That's what the size queen says.
Besides that, I have a book.
Touch the butt.
Touch the butt. Yes, please touch the butt. Not the 300 butt.
Touche da butt is what she says, actually, technically.
But buy my book, Dawn Edge. And Kahuna takes out.
Tonight, we have discussed The Rings of Power, the terrible Rohirrim show, an awesome movie that floats very, very well. 300. Sparta! We have looked at Wrangler's books. We have argued endlessly. Justin has found out what a size queen is. And now, it's time to call it out. Thank you for being here. Join us next week, Tuesday, 6:30 PST, every Tuesday night. Join us aboard the Iron Seas. See you there. Woo!